Yo, what's up, man? You sent me a message? I think you did. I didn't see it. I saw a notification, but I didn't check it yet. Dapperpunk update comes out tomorrow. Nice. Cool. What are they? You know what they're updating? Self-driving cars. Interesting. That's cool. Do you mod it? Do you mod Cyberpunk or you just keep it vanilla? Graphics? Okay. Yeah, my fucking computer is like an airport when I start up the game. I'm running an i9. Was it the 12th gen i9? And I got a 3090. I got a 3090. Like my computer's fine. It runs the game fine, but it's so super loud. What I got? Yeah, 12th gen i9. 64 gigs of RAM. You know, like my computer should be. It's plenty fine, and I don't have any issues running the game. Like it still looks good. But I might turn down like some of the settings from ultra to like, something not ultra basically. Nice. What's your favorite kind of run? Yeah, well, no, yeah, but of the three that you can choose from between Corpo or whatever the other two are. What's up, Wampa? 4 of the 8. And done a full playthrough Nomad, Street Kid, Corpo, but I think I prefer Corpo the most because there's some interesting options and interactions. Okay, yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's what I'm doing now. Good to see you, bud. John. So John, I don't know who Johnny is yet. I guess. So the Corpo character's name is V, right? And right now I've been hanging out with that Spanish dude. I forget his name. The guy that like saved my life in the club, basically. Jackie. Yeah, yeah. Socialist terrorist rockstar. Yeah, cool, nice. Cat jersey. I watched my cat jersey. I have a couple of them. I have a few. This is the Tarasenko jersey from the 2024 Stanley Cup, and then I have a Anthony Duclair jersey from. He was also on that team as well, I think. No, he was on. He was on the team when we lost to Vegas, so that would have been 2023. So I have an Anthony Duclair jersey, I have a Vladimir Tarasenko jersey, and I also have an old school throwback Panthers jersey, but it doesn't have it's not a player's actual jersey. It's just like a generic kind of old school Panthers jersey. So I have a few. No Barkov, no Barkov yet. The thing is, like, I can always get a Barkov jersey. I've been trying to like make sure I get like weird, interesting jerseys from players that I know they won't make that jersey of anymore. They're going to be making Barkov jerseys for forever, man. You know, so eventually I'll get a Barkov jersey. But I like having jerseys of players that are like, you know, really good and important, but they're also kind of just not as well known. You know. I mean, everybody knows Vladimir Tarasenko. He was, you know, for the Blues. Played for the Blues. Played for us. I think he played for Detroit. He's been kind of like a journeyman. But he won a cup in St. Louis, I believe. He won a cup in Florida. And he was amazing in his heyday, Tarasenko. And Duclair got drafted by the Rangers, I think, in 2021 or 2022. And then he either got traded or signed in Florida. And he was there for, I want to say, a year or two, but he was definitely there for that year when we went to the Cup against Vegas and we lost. So I think he's in San Jose now, I want to say. Yeah, Tarasenko's a boss. That's who I'm wearing right now. I got the Tarasenko jersey on. All right, I'm gonna start working here in a minute. But I got a couple videos queued up. First one is from one of Midas' favorite people. Gold. Asmon Gold. That's like a little Bond reference. We've been saying for 15 minutes. I don't know, I've just been talking to Mida about Cyberpunk. What are we gonna watch? We're gonna watch. Let's see here. Asmongold's got some take on Europe. Some slop about Frogan. A video that I saw on Brittany Simon's stream, but I've refused to watch the Brittany Simon version of it. I'm just gonna like take the content she was watching and watch it myself. But it's called Ethan Klein's Miserable World of Misogyny. I also got there's a President Sunday video about leftists eating their own. There was a panel with Hutch and Josiah and the Vanguard and I think Pisco. And I don't know, they were just talking about general politics. So Mugabe's factory. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. The Epstein thing really did it. You know, Iran did it. Epstein did it. Yeah, the wavering with the tariffs, that definitely was probably the starting point of it, for sure. Yeah. Do you think you should have kids? Why or why not? I don't want any kids. Are you asking, do I think I should have kids, or do I think that people should have kids in general? I mean, yeah, I think people should have kids in general. Should I have kids? I, I mean, I know I'd be a great father. I've already raised a child. My youngest brother, I gave him his name before he was born. I changed his diapers. I burped him. I fed him. I put him to bed. I cradled him. You know, I freaking did his homework with him, book reports, took him to school, took him to baseball practice. I was basically his dad because my parents were never home. So I already know how to raise a kid, and I know I'd be a great father. But I'm not in a rush to fucking just find any chick and just start having kids because the clock's ticking. Clocks tick differently for guys, so fortunately I'm on that side of the fence. So I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to it, but my main goal was to finish school first, and I just did that in December. So now it's time to get back on the dating train, essentially. But I don't know. I'm not in a rush. Youngest bro, yeah. Matters our partner, yeah. If I want to have kids, I'd love to have kids. I'd love to have kids because I know I'd be a great dad. I would love to teach my kids, how to be an adult, how to live life. But I mean, I see people just fucking rush into relationships and get addicted to sex and mistake that for a true connection, and then go a year or so, and then fucking, drop $100,000 on a wedding, and then, pump out a kid or two, and then fall out of love with each other, and then fucking get a divorce, and then it's like it's easy as hell these days to get a fucking divorce. So that's just not my scene. Norman and Trump were confirmed to have had a meeting with the DOJ 2 weeks ago where they discussed the firing of Maureen Comey, and she was officially let go today from the DOJ. For reference, she's the federal prosecutor overseeing that thing. Oh, wow. Wow. I had a clip about... Let's see. Where was it? Yeah.
But we all know why Trump hasn't released the file. We all know who got to him.
Elmo, I don't think I want to hear the answer to any of this.
John, no, hear me out, John. No, it's not. I'm just asking questions. It's not what you think.
All right, Elmo. What was it?
John? It was the Jews.
No!
But we all know why Trump hasn't released...
Oh, man. Amazing. What's up, Ombre? You want to hear it? I want to work, okay? That's what I want to do. I have to work. I got to put in a few hours before some meetings I have in the morning. So that's what I want to do. I'm going to be doing that, and we're just going to watch some videos and hang out. Like I said, these late night work sessions are going to be going on for the next few weeks. I'm even going to be working on the weekends. So that's what's going on. You guys are more than welcome to talk shit. Would you spend mad dollars on a wedding? Hell no. The most fucking useless thing that ever happened is fucking spending ridiculous amounts of money on a wedding. Ridiculous amounts of money. Imagine that. Imagine that. You know, imagine dropping 150 grand on a wedding. You could basically buy a small investment property for what you would spend on a wedding, you know, on one day. Fuck that, bro. And then all for what? All for what? You get fucking divorced in 2 years? Drop 80 grand on a wedding, divorced in 2 years. Drop 120 grand on a wedding, divorced in 2.5 years. I mean, that industry to me is fucking worse than the military industrial complex. the whole wedding scene shit. It's fucking bad, man. I hate that the Cats won, but I like Edmund lost. Yeah, I saw that there was a clip today of Connor McDavid actually like skating on a rink. He actually joined like a beer league team. Everybody was like shocked. They were like, "Holy shit, we have Connor McDavid at a fucking beer league game." Yeah, I'm curious. They said that he's optimistic about the Edmonton office, and they're basically gonna get their shit together. But I don't know. I don't know, man. It's gonna be you need a big culture change after the past 2 years in Edmonton. And, you know, if they can keep Draisaitl, McDavid, Hyman, you know, if they can keep their core together, you know, maybe they have a shot. But I don't know. There's something lacking there. You know, it's got to be a culture thing. anyways, all right. I'm gonna get to work here. We got Maida's boy, Maida's favorite person. Why is that happening? I ordered me some stew, meat beater tacos, onions, bell peppers, jalapenos sauce. Nice, very cool. That's like a staple down here in San Antonio.
Europe. Is anarchy in parts of Spain, France, and the UK now? What the f?
It is anarchy in parts of Spain, France, and the UK right now as migrant gangs from Northern Africa and the Middle East violently try to take over and intimidate innocent people.
Why are there violent migrant gangs from the Middle East and North Africa and Europe? This seems like an unforced error. Really, it seems like it shouldn't happen.
Spain is currently in crisis with ongoing clashes between migrant gangs and Spaniards following the violent bashing of an elderly man in Torre Pachato.
Remember what I said yesterday about as soon as one country is able to crash out and successfully make a change because of the crash out, then you're going to have all the other ones doing it. And now you're starting to see this happen in France and also in the UK.
And again in Spain, a man with...
Has you guys been destabilizing the Middle East for the past 70 years? Then why aren't they in Saudi Arabia doing this? Why aren't they doing this over in Dubai? Dubai and Saudi Arabia are in the Middle East. Why don't you think about that? Right, come back. Yeah, think about that. So what? Yeah, who cares? Like, they know better?
There's nothing like Asmongold Geopol takes, man. Nothing like it.
Yeah, they do.
The baby was callously threatened by a knife-wielding
They are.
gang for simply walking down the street.
Oh, he's got the knife behind his back. You're trying to square up on a single dad with a baby? What is this? Oh my God.
And in the tourist mecca of Barcelona, the cobblestone
That's a nice
laneways
place.
are no longer filled with people enjoying their vacations,
Yeah.
but with hundreds of Muslim men chanting. This commentator sent a stark warning, saying if you wanted to visit Barcelona, Spain, now it's looking like Islamabad, Pakistan. France is also in
How the fuck does that happen? Yeah, how how the fuck does that happen anywhere? What I think is so funny about this is the fact that a lot of the other countries in the Middle East don't take any of these people. Like, I never hear about UAE, Qatar, or Saudi Arabia, or there's one more of them. I'm not thinking of the name. They never fucking. I never hear about this problem there ever. Yeah, like it's crazy. Like, they reject them. Really?
a migration mess, with violence running rampant in the streets, like at the Fête de la Musique last month,
Oh
where
my-
hundreds of young people were stabbed with syringes and property set alight.
What the fuck?
Online
Oh my
commentators were in
God.
shock with the footage, with this person saying,
This is
is France? This looks like Ghana, not France." And
That's in
two
Fran-
women were left injured and terrified after their car was surrounded and
What's up, Edge? No, he's talking about Europe right now.
destroyed by rioters following the PSG Champions League victory.
Hey. Nothing says a soccer celebration like burning down a car. Ah, good.
In the UK, the
Absolutely insane. Do you know what the best part about this is? This is the opening plot for V for Vendetta. That's what's so funny to me about this.
situation is even more dire, with daily occurrences of violent bashings and stabbings by migrant groups on innocent local victims.
What's wrong with it? Well, here's the reason why it happens. The reason why it happens is because they get away with it. It's simple. They get away with it. There's enough of them in the area, and they think that nothing is going to happen to them. And that's the reason why. They don't do this in and this isn't, you've got to understand that this is not simply a religious issue, because Muslim majority countries like Saudi, you think Saudi Arabia puts up with this shit? Fuck no, they don't put up with this. What do you think happens? You go around, you do this over in Dubai. You're dead. That's what happens. You're dead. And they kill you. And so the problem is that the people do this because they know they can get away with it. That's the reason why. Saudi Arabia is a dictatorship, man. They still not getting away with it over there. I mean, yeah, but they're not. Well, you call it whatever you want to call it, but they still not getting away with it. And
Knife crime is at an all-time high, with people being randomly targeted on the streets.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Give the playbook to me.
He's got his left hand.
Let's go. Let's go. You're not going to use the play. You're not going to use the play. You're not going to use the play. You get up the
Women's advocacy group Women's Safety Initiative is speaking up about the issue to raise awareness about the dire state of play in the UK at the moment.
Don't they like not report? Like I've heard that they don't report the amount of like sexual violence that happens and like the increases. I don't know really if that's true, but I hear it a lot. Is this the country that banned ninja swords? Yes, that would be the country that bans ninja swords. That would be correct. Yes.
The silent impact of mass migration on women's daily lives in the UK is a stark reminder of the point that we have got to in this country. A country that has chosen multiculturalism over assimilation, ultimately leading to what we have
It's
now.
not multiculturalism, it's anti-culturalism. I mean, if you have people that are going in and they're coming into the country and raping people and stabbing them, that's not multicultural. Like, multicultural is like whenever...
Speaking of multiculturalism, what's up, Conrad?
You know, I go downtown to Austin and I can go to like a Italian restaurant or a Mexican restaurant or a barbecue place. Like that's multiculturalism. This isn't a culture, this is behavior. No, it is multicultural. Well, what I'm saying is like they don't do this in their own countries. They do this here because they can get away with it. Well, you're wrong. No, I think that a lot of you guys don't understand. They do. I mean, well, yeah. I mean, and in some of the places
Nice.
they do, and that whole area is so bad that they leave.
Parallel communities with limited cross-cultural understanding. Let's take a look at Ballsby Green, one of the most dangerous areas you could possibly live in Birmingham, with 181 crimes per 1,000 residents.
181 crimes per 1,000 residents. So that means 18% of people are causing trouble. Bro, I think my 2% number might have been too low. I don't know, man. This is bad. But actually, to be fair, you have 181 crimes. I bet they're committed by probably what, fucking 20 people. There's probably 20 people doing everything.
And a large portion of these crimes being of sexual and violent offences.
Yep.
Now, let me make it clear, the demographic of this ward is significant. Less than 10% of this ward account for white British people. Violence and sexual offences constitute the largest crime category.
I think this is a big problem that they have, is that they view any sort of crackdown on this type of behavior because these people come from different cultures. And I think that there is like more of a allowance of bad behavior because they assume that cracking down on it would disproportionately affect people of a certain ethnicity. Therefore, it's racist. And I think that's the reason why they can't solve this problem. It's because they're afraid of effectively looking bad or being called racist. And so, like, because if you can't identify what a problem is and you can't look at it and approach it
Aspen Cole's starting to notice.
in an objective way, you can never solve the problem. It's kind of like how Twitch can never solve the problem with hot tub girls because they can never acknowledge the fact is that it's a bunch of girls that are trying to sell OnlyFans on Twitch. Because by doing so, you would acknowledge that this is a one gender problem, and in doing so, that would be sexist. So all they can do is create half measures, or it's kind of like, I'm trying to think of a good way to explain this, but like they can never deal with the problem directly. They have to deal with it through like multiple levels of abstraction, so they can create plausible deniability from disingenuous people that want to accuse them of bad behavior. And that's what's happening here. It's not sexist if it's one gender committing the problem. Well, the problem though is that people aren't willing to accept that idea. And people are still captured by the idea of if a certain policy or a certain action disproportionately affects a group of people, then that policy or action, if it disproportionately affects a group of people who are deemed marginalized, is fundamentally racist. And it's an optics argument, right? It's something that looks bad. And I think that's really it. They don't get punished, so they do this. Well, exactly, right? They don't get punished. Why don't you cut your nails? I do. What do you mean? My nails are cut. What are you talking about? Idiot. Idiot.
Green, making up 50.3% of all crimes reported. They are averaging at about 150 to 160 violent sexual offences committed every month.
That's a lot.
And commentator-
It's like, what, fucking like 4 or 5 a day?
Matt Goodwin agreed.
So a 24-year-old man has been brutally murdered on the streets of London, outside a luxury hotel, by another man who was allegedly trying to steal his watch. This is merely the latest horrific symbol of how out of control and horrific London has become.
Jesus.
Just look at the stats.
Yeah, I agree, Mida. I'm not pro sex work, but I'm not anti sex work. I mean, but who even knows what sex work is anymore? You know, if you're selling feet pics on the internet, is that sex work? You know, if you give lap dances, is that sex work? Who knows anymore? You know, what I'm concerned with is young girls absorbing all of this bop content, right? So they essentially plan out their roadmap to OnlyFans while they're in high school. And then the moment they turn 18, they just instantly fucking sell their soul. Sell their soul, start an OnlyFans, and fucking put pictures of themselves all over the internet. That's, to me, that's my number one thing. You know, if somebody wants to go be a stripper, if somebody wants to go be a hooker, I don't care. That's your thing, right? But this idea that these girls are, you know, idolizing these fucking bop girls because they see them driving Ferraris, living in mansions. And it's like, yeah, well, if all I got to do is literally just turn 18, then let me just start planning now, you know? And then literally the moment they turn 18, even when they're still in high school, they will fucking start an OnlyFans. To me, there's an epidemic there. Foot pics is sex work, if you're... Okay, yeah. Even Denham's announced she's reopening her OnlyFans to pay for her lawsuit against Ethan. Nice, yeah. Nice. We got some stuff coming up about Ethan and Frogan. I did see something about Denims earlier today. Who was covering Denims? Might have been Tectone, I'm not sure.
Shoplifting is up 54%. Theft from...
How are people not just putting more money into the police to arrest the people that are shoplifting? Because this is what's so crazy about it, is that it's pretty easy to solve this problem, right? You just get the police and you arrest the people and that's it, right? Put them in jail, you're done. And I don't know what to say. Yeah, ask our leaders that, Zach. We defunded the police. Listen, and by the way, I know that I'm throwing stones in a glass house because, like, I've said the same stuff about us doing this here in the U.S. Like, I realize that you guys, like, we have the same problem that you guys have, but it seems like it's even worse in Europe and parts of Europe. Obviously, Europe is made up of many, many countries. But like in places like the UK, France, and Spain, this seems like a huge issue. This heads up, Sky will be over-exaggerating. I'm not saying it's not true. I think that it's probably really bad. And I think anybody could have expected this to happen. This video is very misleading. Well, just real quick, like, what do you think is misleading about this video? I'm in the UK and there's literally nothing happening. The clips they show are 1 to 2 years old. So about the UK, I'm not really sure. And so like some of these clips, there's nothing happening. Like, okay, so there's nothing happening to you. And that's, I don't know. I mean, he's lying. Yeah. I mean, I don't know where this guy lives. I mean, it's impossible for me to say. I mean, the things happening in Spain are happening, like they happened like 2 days ago. I mean, it sure seems like this is a problem, though, right? I mean, like, if you see, like, all this mass migration in the country, like, do you see this as a problem? Like, does this seem like an issue to you, or do you think it's good? Or maybe not good, but like a neutral effect? Yeah, he's bullshitting you? Well, I don't know if he is or not. I mean, there's no way to know at all. It's because he's ignorant of happening and discarding as a result of something else. We have some refugee problem, but there are not riots at the moment. Well, no, okay, that's fine. Yeah, I didn't say there were riots. There's riots in Spain, but not in the UK right now, as far as I know.
The person is up 41%. 70,000 phones were stolen from people in this city last year alone. There's a rape every hour, sexual offences are through the roof, and it's not just the crime that bothers me. London has also become a symbol for liberal progressives of how they'd like to see the rest of the country. Oh. But do you really want the rest of the country to look like London? Hundreds of thousands of people who don't speak English, our national language, hundreds of thousands of illegal migrants, hate marches on the streets of our capital city every week, pro-Hamas, pro-Hezbollah hate marches.
And all of this...
How can they do pro-Hamas and Hezbollah hate marches if they have all those hate speech laws over there? Like, I don't understand this. You know, I'm a UK viewer at this point. All the things are 100% big issues, mostly pointing at minorities. Of course, the video is definitely over the top sensationalist, but not untrue. Two-tier system. I'm telling you guys, like, this is, I really think this is going to radicalize people, and they're going to vote for somebody who's like one of those like fucking like V for Vendetta level like authoritarians to like solve this problem. And I think that they'll do it militarily. I think that's clearly what's going to happen. I don't see how that's not the outcome.
Stark evidence and footage of countries overrun by violence and division, yet their governments and leadership do.
And by the way, a lot of people are naming names. I think the level of extremism that a person is going to have in order to solve this problem, nobody is expressing that level of extremism in the current window of politics over there. I think it's going to be somebody we don't even know who they are, or it's going to be somebody who dramatically shifts what they're saying to an insane way. Farage is weak. Yeah, anybody like Nigel Farage or any of these people, they're going to seem like liberals compared to this person. The Swedish guy, no? Well, I don't know about that. I'm not sure who you're talking about.
Absolutely nothing. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer seems to be more concerned about protecting the illegal migrants than protecting his own people. Reform UK's Zia Yusuf slammed
well, he's been cosplaying as caring about it recently because he doesn't want to lose elections.
Prime Minister for his incompetence on the issue.
It's all garbage. No one's listening, which is why his approval ratings have collapsed at historic speed. Look, there's north of 1.2 million people here in this country illegally already. They are crossing the channel illegally at record numbers, right? So things aren't not improving fast enough. They are getting demonstrably worse every single week. And the only way we're going to solve this problem, Mike, and restore a social contract that is hanging by a thread in this country is by deporting every single one of those 1.2 million people who are here. We need to be standing up enormous amounts of detention capacity. We need huge numbers of charter flights. We need return agreements with countries.
See this guy, what he's saying? That's close. That's close, but I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot more than that.
These people back, and if they don't take them back, we need to be doing things like stopping issuing visas altogether. We need to be scrapping the foreign aid.
And Starmer's latest humiliation, his deal with Emmanuel Macron of France over illegals, which commentators believe will have absolutely no impact on fixing the current issue.
As far as their main kind of policies go, one of them they bang on about because of that ridiculous, ludicrous summit last...
Check crime stats yourself instead of fear-mongering, attention-grabbing videos? You mean the crime stats that places like Sweden intentionally obfuscate in order to hide the idea of migrant crime? Are those the crime stats you want me to look at?
Le Summit, as we called it here, between Emmanuel Macron and Keir Starmer.
Nice try.
You know, they seem to think that finding some form of middle ground and finding an agreement on stopping the migrants is going to stop them. Well, it isn't. You know, they've now got the idea, Yvette Cooper has, that they're going to send some people back to Iraq. You know, I'll believe it when I see it. Nothing of what they do works.
No, it doesn't happen.
No one is going to go back to Iraq because even if they have a returns deal, the European Convention of Human Rights in its court will interfere and prevent that deal from being enacted.
And in a shock move, French reports indicate that France is now giving all Palestinians in Gaza the opportunity to apply for asylum. This commentator revealed the news, saying a French court has ruled that all people from Gaza can apply for asylum in France. That is 2.1 million people that can come to Europe. Not only that, because of freedom of movement, they could potentially travel anywhere in the EU once inside France. Sounds like a bad idea.
Sounds like a bad idea.
And whilst the leaders of Europe refuse to do anything, the people have taken things into their own hands.
I just don't understand how, like, one thing that's really confusing to me about this is that why is it that Europe has some sort of unique responsibility to solve and alleviate these problems in the Middle East when there's a bunch of Middle Eastern countries there that could go to instead? It seems really confusing to me that Europe is the one that's supposed to solve this problem. Yeah, we don't. Well, World War II, white guilt. Yeah, I mean, you can say whatever the reason is at all, but it just, like, it's completely illogical. I don't see it at all. Why do you think the countries are doing this? Second-class citizens? Why are countries doing this? I think that... So, well, let me finish the video and I'll talk about why I think it's happening.
Send a message that this will not be tolerated.
We saw it. This is recent. Yeah.
Spaniards have also had enough and are responding with violence.
Yep, here we go. Oh boy. So, wow. Attack the random car with people in it. So what I think is happening, the reason why I think it's happening is that I think that there's a number of different reasons why. So some of the reasons why I think it's happening is, number one, it's that a lot of the people that are in these Western cultures think that they have some sort of guilt or obligation to let these people into these countries because of previous and in some cases legitimate ways that their countries have historically taken advantage of, Middle Eastern countries or other less privileged countries like ones in Africa, right? So that's number one. So there's like a degree of generational guilt through because of colonialization. That's one. And then number two, I think that you have a lot of people that have a lot of these values and they think these things because they never have to experience them themselves. So like, for example, that chatter who's saying that about London, he's saying that this isn't really a problem, but he might not live in the area where it's a problem. So like, for example, here in Austin, there are a lot of places where there are pretty much only white people. Like, I mean, in Lakeway, for example, this is the case where like there's a handful of minorities, but like the demographics of like Lakeway in Austin, like just so you guys get an idea of like kind of like just imagine like this is Austin, right? And so like this is Lakeway and this is like Montopolis and like this is I-35. This is like the amount of like white people here versus Hispanic people here is like inverse. Where like
yeah, basically like I-35 chops up Austin. Yeah, it chops up Austin. From what I understand, like all the white people live west of I-35, and if you're not white, you typically live east of I-35. We have that same kind of division here in San Antonio, but it's not with I-35. It's with the 410 loop and 1604. And a few other things, but there's like southeast side. There's like the southeast side of town, and then the north side of town. The north side of town is affluent. Even northwest side can be very affluent, and then like everything that's generally more southeast is not affluent at all.
It's like 90% white people here versus like 90% Hispanic people here. Do you guys see you have project areas, right? Well, they're not really project areas. They're just areas that are less developed, right? And like the point that I'm making about Pflugerville, I've never been there. I'm not sure. But the point that I'm making is that a lot of the people that advocate for like mass migration or a lot of these like anti-police policies. So, and this is really what the problem is is it's people that are from this area that then negatively affect this area. So this area is now negatively affected because of lower policing, because you have a bunch of people in these ivory towers that think that they're good people. Look at me. Wow, I'm so good because I'm going against these evil, corrupt police officers. But the fact is that these police officers are actually the ones that are keeping these places livable, right? And so what I think happens in a lot of cases is that, and so you have, and what I mean by this, like my point with all of this is it's collectively, effectively, it's a luxury belief that they're writing checks that other parts of the country need to cash. Or sorry, other parts of the country, other parts of the city, other parts of the world need to cash. So they're saying that, oh, all of this stuff is normal and it's totally fine. Well, it is for them because they don't ever have to experience the consequences from it. And they never will experience the consequences from it because they live in multi-million-dollar homes in gated communities. And the only time they interact with minorities is through like some sort of like fucking like some servant service, right? Like some housekeeping service. And so that's their thinking of it, right? It's literally like these like upper middle class liberals that are like, well, who's going to clean my house? Like, what's wrong with you? Like it's again, it's like the casual racism of it is insane. But anyway, so that's another reason why it's happening. A third reason why it's happening is that, and this is a big conspiracy that I have, is that I don't see how a government could allow this to happen unless they were kind of pushing for authoritarianism. So you could make the logical argument that they are effectively pushing accelerationism towards an authoritarian government by creating the need for an authoritarian government by destabilizing the population. Now, I don't think this is necessarily what's happening, but if I was a conspiracy theorist, that's what I would believe. And so there's definitely that. And the logic tracks. Yeah, the logic tracks immediately, right? Like everything that's happening makes sense. Then there's another thing. This is with the U.S. With the U.K., I'm not sure because the way they're voting and like their whole system works, I'm not familiar with. And in Europe. But in the U.S., one of the reasons why a lot of countries or states like, California, for example, want to advocate for illegal immigration is because it increases the amount of votes that they have nationally, because the illegals are counted on the census. And the idea is that the more illegals that are counted on the census, the more their influence will be. And they're assuming that these illegals will vote and behave, and their children will vote and behave in a way that is beneficial to them. So they're making like a long-term generational investment in having these people come over to the country and then hopefully having some sort of generational obligation or loyalty to the party that allowed them to do that. Reach? No, it's not a reach. This is literally just the truth, right? Like that's the way it works. And so illegals can't vote, but their kids can because they have kids here and the kids are protected under the 14th Amendment and they grow up to be citizens and then they vote. And then they vote in the best interest of keeping their parents who are illegals in the country. You see how that works? There you go. And so again, like, and bro's cooking. No, that's again, like this is just logic. And so once you deconstruct these ideas, I think that a lot of it makes a lot of sense. It makes perfect sense. And so why is it happening in Europe? I think also Europe has, and this is especially true with countries, especially, I mean, the main one is Germany, right? Is Germany has like a lot of generational guilt because of World War II and the Nazis. So a lot of countries in Europe view not helping these other developing countries, especially if these countries are not the same ethnicity of them, they view not doing that or approaching solving problems that like groups like this create, like for example, like the gangs or whatever, they view solving these problems as racism, and it makes them afraid to deal with it because they don't want to be seen in the same way that their ancestors are seen. Do you see kind of what I'm saying? And so like all of these things come together, and that's what really creates these problems. I'll read a few comments, but like that's like, do you see kind of like how all these things fit together? Oh, and then there's one more thing. A lot of big corporations want to bring in a lot of these low skilled, low education workers because they can exploit them. And so you also have the merging of cynical big business with self-serving government, with luxury belief liberals, and you also have a degree of generational guilt that happens throughout the entire culture. All of these things fit together, and it makes people say that this is okay. That's basically what's happening. And I think that's like, if you put everything together, that's the issue. Especially with what's happening in Spain. Bro, we're done with this generational guilt shit, though? Well, I mean, not yet. Obviously not yet. And I think that a lot of us on the internet, you need to understand that we are in an echo chamber. There are a lot of, and this is especially true with like older, and I would say this is like 45-plus-year-old people. A lot of those older people are still captured by that type of thinking. They're still captured by that type of thinking, and they're still inside of that box. And the reason why is because the government keeps them there. The government keeps them there. The media keeps them there, and they're not able to get out of it. It's mainly boomers. It's boomers and some Gen Xers, but it's primarily boomers and people that are like really 50, 55 plus. And you can see that with a lot of these like Trump protests, for example, is that you either have two groups of people. You have young women that are probably, you know, like fucking mentally ill or something. And then you also have a lot of old people, right? And all you have to do is look at it, like the amount of people that are keying Teslas or anything like that. You have it there. Millennials too. Well, that's why I was talking about mental illness, right? And generational conditioning. Well, tell them they're wrong. Well, yeah. You can tell them that they're wrong. This problem will solve itself when those people generally just die out, because that's what's going to happen. Is they're going to die, and then the people that are going to replace them won't have the same values because they didn't grow up in the same way. And so once enough of those people die, then you'll see a big policy shift. Right? It's sad. It's a sad way to look at it, right? Because like a lot of these are like, you know, people our parents' age, but the reality is that, yes, I mean, this is the circle of life. Like this is just how it is.
That's Tom Homan. I thought he had Mustache Man in his algo there for a second. You see right here, right where my mouse is. I thought he had like a Hitler speech in his algo, but it looks like it's from Tom Homan.
And so die from age, right? Yeah, of course. Like, yeah, they just get old, and you know, like that's what old people do. Old people die. Like that's life.
Welcome back to a series so spellbinding, even Harry Potter subscribed. In today's video, Hasan is now denying lying about Asmongold and says that Asmon actually lies about him. He's also called out Nux Taku and calls him an Israeli lolly lover, implying that he's a PDF file. Out of nowhere, Ice Poseidon has now called out Hasan.
Does anybody know if that guy's actually a P3DO? This guy? He obviously pops up in my algo a lot because he talks about Hasan fucking nonstop. But I feel like, which is normally I never start a sentence like that, but I feel like Casey may have told me about this person before. I feel like saying probably. True.
Taku and calls him an Israeli lolly lover, implying that he's a PDF file. Out of nowhere, Ice Poseidon has now called out Hasan. Baldus streamer Tectone has shown his veteran brother the viral clip of Frogan saying that soldiers should get PTSD. Updates from Queen of all incels, Caseytron. Ethan's never-ending beef with simp journalist Taylor Lorenz continues. Subscribe, we are so close to 700k. Thank you, Ludwig, for your contributions.
Let's up those numbers!
Now let's begin with this tweet. Hasan denies making things up about Asmongold, points to his AI thumbnails, also calls out Nux Taku.
I mean, can you imagine what it would be like if you just had people on the internet that would just make stuff up about you with no basis and just fucking put it out there and just say random shit with no evidence?
Wait, that's so crazy because, like, I think he literally has been abusing, he's been spamming like AI thumbnails recently too. And like he makes it, I saw like one thumbnail that popped up on my fucking For You page on my YouTube and it gave me a jump scare. It was me like holding a gun.
The Weeboo Kitty Diddler overlap in communities is alarming. I don't even know anymore. I was actually talking to Casey about this earlier today because Tectone was talking about... Tectone was watching a video made by Rev Desu, which I remember Casey making videos about Rev Desu before. And Rev Desu was talking about a company that does like all the VTuber stuff. So it was like all of Casey's favorite things in one stream. So I took a screenshot of it and I sent it to him and I was like, these are all your favorite things in one screenshot. And he was like, and he was explaining to me, you know, the whole beef between Tectone and Rev. I don't know much about Rev outside of what I remember from Casey's videos, but apparently he's like this ultra right winger. I had no clue. You know, he sounds like the VTuber version of Andy Pants, basically. And I don't know. Casey knows more about these circles than I do, but every single fucking weeb I know unironically does the she's not 7. She's a 3,000-year-old dragon. It does the form of the younger girl, the little menacing. Not half naked. It's traditional garbage. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that argument was the talk of the town during the Vosh Lolly arc. No, she's actually 7,000 years old. Amazing.
And it was like on the other side, it was like Ludwig, I think. So I don't know what he was implying. I think he was like implying that I'm like King Ludwig or something. I don't know what. Like at this point, like the lore crafting is so is so out of pocket.
It's like this weird mirroring thing too, where he's like criticizing you, but like in the process describing himself like perfectly. Yeah. Imagine being a guy who doesn't know anything and tells lies on the internet all the time.
Okay, can somebody in the audience tell me, who is this guy? Like literally who? Buddy, just hop off his shalong, man. It is crazy how much absolute dick sucking is just going on here. I told you, there's a waiting list for that shit. You gotta get past iDubbbz. You gotta get past Dan Clancy. You gotta get past the Hassan Orbiters. My god, get in line. Also, if it wasn't obvious already, the hypocrisy is so insane, bro. Hassan will constantly lie and twist stories to fit his agenda, and he's out here calling other people out. And then his 2 yes man minions there going like, Hassan, you're so cool, bro. Absolutely pathetic. Now let's take a look at what Hassan was talking about. Basically, he's talking about this video posted on Asmongold's clip channel. Now keep in mind that Asmongold doesn't really run this channel. It's his editor who takes care of everything here. So if we look at the thumbnail here, Hassan is pointing a gun at the camera, and then we got Ludwig here. It kind of looks like Hassan is, you know, going after Ludwig here. Now, is this AI? Yeah, probably. Is this clickbait? Yeah, probably 100%. But is it very far from the truth? Hassan did wave around a gun, so it's not that crazy to, you know, change the position of a gun a little bit. Now, he's also known to absolutely dog walk Ludwig and make him delete videos and apologize to him. So I feel like this is more of a metaphor, really. Pretty much everybody knows that this is clickbait and is a joke. Nobody actually looks at this and goes, well, is Hassan about to kill Ludwig? Did he aim a gun at Ludwig? Only the most lobotomized fan would ever think that. Now, the question remains, should he actually be doing this? You know, probably not, but, you know, that's kind of the game on YouTube. A little bit of clickbait here and there. I would know nothing about that, obviously. I've never clickbaited in my entire life. But I just find it interesting. He's out here pearl clutching over this, right? As if he isn't this massive hypocrite who actually spreads lies about him constantly. He even says Asmongold's favorite YouTuber is Rev, which is not, by the way, and he calls him a lovely-loving essential PDF file, says that he killed his mom. Those are like actual things he says and spreads to his audience. When Asmongold's audience looks at this thumbnail, nobody's clicking on this thinking that Hassan killed
That's an amazing thumbnail. It's all fucking nonsense apology. Yeah, that's why I just don't watch anime out of principle. Not a real gun. Not a real gun. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Still though, you know, did he even if it's not a real gun, you know, he had to have broken some kind of terms of service. Did he get like anything for that? What was it? It was like some guy said to him like, "Oh, time to bring another crusade" or something. What was it? There's no shorts on this?
Not to be taken aback, because once again, I'm going to show you guys today here live on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. Yeah, we finally got not adding anything to this conversation whatsoever and just farming political Andes because that's all he can do. And once politics gets banned on Twitch, he will be forced to sit there and rot and most likely start an OnlyFans where he's going to have to pleasure himself live to make any type of income because, I mean, I'll be real, without politics, he's just a cute looking dude. And that, but it does rhyme with it.
You can do through the first link in the description.
What are you gonna do, bro?
So the moment has
it's missing the line. The line that he read, I think, from the chat was like, "Time for another crusade."
Hassan, Doc, you ever got that name?
I'm gonna lift my boot in your room. We're gonna make you do it again. Your closest ally is Tectone, a fucking accused sex criminal.
You see how he's saying accused, right?
He already got side-wided? Oh, yeah, they already got fucking clapped.
In this first
Oh, Twitch staff simultaneously instant bans anyone who insults Hassan while does nothing while he doxes and threatens to chatter with a firearm in front of an audience. That's crazy. To pull out a gun and be waving it around on stream.
Whoa, who did that? Is download the YouTube VPN app, which we can do through the first link in the description.
jungle, bro. Much love.
Fuck are you gonna do, bro? Write a petition? Let's do a crusade, he says.
Let's do a crusade. I love it.
Let's do a fucking crusade, he says. Let's hang Hassan and Mamdani for treason, he says. The fuck are you gonna do?
Did he not get anything for this? Did he not get any bans? Any kind of like even if it's temporary? I don't remember anything happening to him because of this. Yeah.
Ludwig. It's just not even in the same universe. Hassan is actually presenting these things as actual facts. Meanwhile, it's obvious Asmongold and his editor are memeing here. Now, in this next part, he calls out Nux, the other guy with a Hassan series.
And whose statements are really scrutinized. Yeah. Couldn't be me.
Like, there's one content
This is the guy, this Nux guy is definitely the guy that Bad and Bonato was talking about the other day. Like, in the sense that every video on his channel is like, Hassan is 100% done. Hassan is finished. Whoa, Hassan just killed his own channel. Whoa, Hassan is done. Like, this Nux guy is definitely who Bad and Bonato is talking about. What's going on with my monitors? Oh, there we go.
Creator who's like a lolicon, like drawn children in.
You can see the gas port in the bottom of the magazine. I noticed it immediately. Yeah.
Enjoyer, and he's like a V2. He's like a cartoon character, right? And he's also, I think, like now living in Israel, but he wasn't before. He moved to Israel, I think, like after October 7. Like one of his immediate family members, I think, like might have died. Not on October 7th. Not entirely sure about what happened, but anyway, he went like full fucking crazy mode.
Right, so crazy mode is literally just correcting the lies you spread on a daily basis. Now, this is nothing new. Hassan has gone after Nux before. He called him an Israel dick rider. He said Israel bricked his brain. You know, this is just the same sentiment being echoed again. And is it really so shocking that Nux cares more about this issue? I mean, you literally just said his family member died. I mean, if I had a family member involved in the conflict, yes, I would be a little more interested. Now, obviously, I'm just in it for the YouTube drama here. I'll let him, respond to this. But again, I think this is just a dumb criticism. Now, I don't know all of Nux's opinions and all. I can't really keep up with 2 hours of videos every day, but he doesn't really deserve to be slandered, right? I'm pretty sure Nux has said many times that he doesn't enjoy LollyCon. That's just a lie. And I think he told me this, I kind of forgot, but I'm pretty sure he lives in America, so Hasan is just hallucinating here. Also, I feel like half of this information he's gotten from Nux videos, so he is watching the franchise. He's watching all the slop tubers, it seems. The slop tubers who he claims that he will never watch, he claims he never takes seriously, but he's got his eyes glued on everybody's channel. You know he's watching right now. Say hi to Hasan again, guys. Now, this next part, he calls out Nux's Hasan series, where each title is Hasan is 10% fucked, etc., etc.
Why are you nodding along? You're like, this makes a lot of sense. You're in your mind, you're like, this is... It feels like a setup.
There's just like a lot of different. I mean, there's just a lot of different ways all these things could go. Continue.
But yeah, this guy will always fucking post about me and be like, Hasan is. I think it was at first he was like, Hasan is 65% done. Hasan is like 100% done. Now it's like Hasan is 1,000,000% done. And at no point like does his audience ever go, dog, you said he was gonna go to jail 8 months ago. Why is he not in jail?
So what you're telling me is that there's now a QAnon about you.
Yes!
And that like they're being like, the storm's coming, the Patriots are gonna come for Hasan any minute now.
Oh, you're laughing right now, all right? There were a bunch of people in your situation, who were also laughing. And what happened? They got fucking sued by Ethan, the Hasan orbiters who were so smug. Denims was like, oh no, Ethan will never sue me. He's too pussy for that. And what happened? It turns out karma eventually does come around. And I maintain it is not clickbait, all right? It is just a future prediction, all right? Is it my fault that justice sometimes takes a while? All right? I'm not God here. I can't expedite the process here. I'm not the US government. I'm just pointing out the sequence of events that is likely to happen if Hasan continues down the trajectory he's going, right? If he continues, aiding and supporting terrorists by spreading their propaganda, if he continues radicalizing his audiences by calling shootings like a false flag, but I'm not saying it's a false flag, just if he continues bolstering his absolutely insane chatter and fan base into becoming more and more extremists, I'm just saying eventually something's gonna happen. Eventually he's gonna get sued or eventually he's gonna get arrested.
Yeah.
When he's constantly one-upping himself with like pulling out guns and shit. And I think it really says more about you, that you screw up so much that people can literally make daily videos about you. And it's always new information. It's always new lies, new propaganda, new responses. For someone who looks down on drama or slop tubers, he sure seems to love it. Also, how is this guy calling out other people for being untrustworthy when he said that Russia would never invade Ukraine a week before the invasion?
We did it successfully. We stopped Vladimir Putin from invading Ukraine. Or maybe that was never gonna fucking happen. Like I said, it was never gonna fucking happen.
How can your audience trust you after that, after you're so bad at reading politics? Now this next part, he brings up Trump somehow.
Like, that's what I don't understand is
all of the crimes that he has committed.
Can you imagine
us?
if I was like, if I was constantly just being like, any moment now Trump is gonna get arrested.
That is actually what would happen though if like you got like nabbed or whatever in this current environment, is that like 20,000 gang stalking victims of you would be like coming out to testify about all of the ways you've been oppressing them.
Yeah. He's like, dude, did you see he like flexed one time? That shit was crazy. It was unacceptable.
Oh my god, the fake laughs are contagious, it seems. His little minions there are like, dude, how can you be this less of a man that you let yourself get bitched by Hasan? I mean, he just has a posse of these people that he's putting them in the iDubbbz chair. It's absolutely crazy. And yes, Hasan, your greatest crime is flexing. That is what everybody is criticizing you about. Honestly, has this guy ever addressed the open terrorist support? Does he ever have any actual arguments, or is it just bullshit every time? And honestly, I'm not sure you should be pulling out these yes men dick riders, because Dan Clancy might be a little pissed. Oh no, he's taking over. Hey guys, Dan Clancy here. Hasan, we had an appointment. We made a deal for the Gluckatron 9000, 7 p.m. You betrayed me. No more free BJs. No more protection. You're getting banned on Twitch. Just kidding. I'm a cuck too. I will be watching from my chair in the corner. Bring on as many yes men as you need. I, for one, do not care. But I do expect another gooning rag for Christmas this year. Here's what people are saying. We got the #1 Hassan Glazer. I still haven't figured out what things Hassan has made up about Asmin. The only remotely plausible example I've seen is something about Asmin liking lolly. Is that it? You just know this person is the most unemployed person on the planet. Lol, what an awkward roundabout way to let the audience know that Nuxtaku is Jewish. It wasn't even relevant at all to what he was saying. He really just does hate Jews openly at this point. I mean, his statements are very anti-Semitic, that's for sure. Bro, making up that he didn't make things up, wild. That guy next to Hassan sounds like such a fucking cock, I'm sorry. True. Alright, moving on to Ice Poseidon. Out of nowhere, he's called out Hassan, says that he hates him. Fakest dude I've ever seen.
I hate him. I hate Hassan. I think he's the fakest dude I've ever seen. He's the fakest content creator. I just, it's disgusting. Like, he is so, like he pretends to be a socialist, but he's so far capitalist, it's crazy. He is just profiting off.
I know this guy was big in the fucking streamer scene. Maybe he still is, but did he get like canceled or something for dropping an N-bomb, or what? Was he like a slur guy? What's his deal?
The back ends of his manipulated audience who are in desperate situations in their real life. Obviously his audience must be like super poor and desperate or something because they want socialism.
Socialism doesn't mean you die when you are no longer a productive worker, okay? Every single one of these companies have blood on their hands. Kick is a little bit more direct. No, there is no amount of money that would make me move to Kick. Stop asking me why. I already told you. You don't even care about the actual answer.
Nah, getting called out by a scumbag crypto scammer is crazy. When Ice Poseidon has the moral high ground on Hassan, that's when you know you screwed up. I guess everybody's just taking turns shitting on him. Bro literally works for Amazon. Jeff Bezos Employee of the Month Club. Hassan, have some conviction. Boycott Amazon. It's on the BDS list. Don't you support Palestine?
Have some conviction.
But I just find it funny, Hassan's whole operation. It's very ironic. A bunch of broke people donating to this multi-millionaire who claims to care about these said broke people while doing everything he can to keep them broke. And heaven forbid you make an extra dollar, you better be donating that shit to one of his 50 causes that he's always fundraising for. You know, I, the multi-millionaire, I'm not gonna donate a single penny, but you the 9-to-5 brokey, you better be donating all your money to these absolutely useless lawsuits or whatever that are just gonna end up going to Ethan anyways. Now, Yeet also posted this, Socialism by Gucci, and it's just like Hassan flexing.
Right now. On the way here, we saw like 5 people. Yeah, if you had the spares, it would have been Joe over. Time. What number did
She's looking. She's looking.
Bro, no matter how much money I ever make in my life, I will never be like this. I will never be fucking going to fucking Gucci boutiques. I don't care how rich I ever get. I will never be like this, ever. Okay? I would rather spend my money on building fucking, 5,000 square foot bunker. Stocked with fucking ammo and fucking supplies. I would just wear jeans and t-shirts for the rest of my life and hockey jerseys. That's it. I will never be like this. Obviously, I'll have a couple suits for the occasion I need to be, in case something comes up. I'll have like some nice things, but I'll never be like just carving time out of my day to go fucking strut through the hallways of a Gucci fucking Prada store or whatever. I would never do this shit, bro. Rich person could only lately I've been wanting to buy a new chain, but I don't want to buy like a fucking rapper chain. Oh, okay. Hey, you do you, man. You get a Jesus piece. Get a Mitre Jesus piece. I don't want a fucking rapper chain. Dude, you should get now. I mean, now you should get a rapper chain. Now that you said that, sounds like it's actually a good idea.
She's like, it's good, right?
What number did they
This is
have
a good
you
fit?
on?
Yeah. You like it?
Do I look like a male manipulator?
Well, to be fair, you look like that without the Gucci. Socialist fellas, we got the multi-millionaire socialists right here. Instantly, we got the dick riders. Ah, yes, because living socialism as a capitalist system is possible. It doesn't mean you can't have socialist values. Socialism doesn't mean you can't have nice things. It just means not leaving people to be without it all. But that's not in the individual. It's the government's job. He's outright supporting capitalism here. Stop it with their delusions and see it for what it is. He's a hypocritical grifter. I live in a socialist democracy. We have nice things. You should look up Norway sometime. A country with no military and a welfare system paid with oil. Lol. I'm not even judging you can afford this and whatnot, but for the guy who's always like, guys, there are horrible things happening in the world, and to focus on how can you be flexing with Gucci when there's a genocide going on, Hassan? Disgusting. Shopping in Gucci and live streaming.
I think I had a clip about this. I mean, obviously, I think everybody's seen the meme of like that one chick that's like sitting down in a chair with her Mac laptop, and on the laptop has like a, you know, a hammer and sickle sticker and a ACAB sticker and a, you know, smash the patriarchy sticker and a abolish capitalism sticker while she drinks a fucking, you know, Starbucks, whatever, and she's on her iPhone. I think everybody on the planet has seen that picture. But I think I saw like the real life version of it. Where's she at? Yeah, this one's it. What does it say? Yes, you can be anti-capitalist while also enjoying Labubus and Blank Streak matcha. This is definitely that person. Nice chain, everything like 250 to 400. It's too boring. Everything 500 is wrapper. Yeah, and yeah, I'd wear a wrapper chain, but I don't want to buy a wrapper chain if I don't have to. The only chain I found I like is like a silver 20 millimeter. It's literally called the wrapper chain on the website for like 600. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Hey, you do you, man. I don't know. I do not wear any jewelry. I do wear, like, I have a couple watches that I have. But the watches that I wear, they range anywhere from like $150 to $300. I think the most I would ever spend on a watch is $500, but it would have to look exactly the way I want it to, like the right color scheme and just, you know, the right tones. And that I just don't do jewelry. You know, I'll do some watches, and I might wear like a bracelet that would match the watch, just to have like a, you know, just to have an accent to the experience. But other than that, I don't wear chains. I don't wear rings. Yeah. But I want, if you do get a wrapper chain, I want to. The thing is, like, it's one thing to get a wrapper chain. It's another thing to get a Jesus piece, right? So if you're just gonna get the chain, hey, whatever, then you have a chain. But if you're gonna put something on the chain, then that, to me, that's what makes it a wrapper chain. It's not necessarily like the size or the material. It's more like you need to have like a Jesus piece on it, you know. Not getting a piece. You should, dude. It'd be fucking hilarious. It'd be amazing.
Shortly does seem tone deaf. He could easily do this off stream. Oh no, he has a justification for that. Did he tell you why he bought his Porsche, by the way? It's so that his audience can share the experience together. As if any of one of his fans get to drive the Porsche. Actually delusional. Textbook socialism. Give us all your money and we'll take care of you. Somewhere they're in a Lambo with a Dior. How can bros community not feel so incredibly freaking stupid? I guess you're too stupid to feel stupid? Stupidception. Now moving on to Tectone. Tectone shows his veteran brother Frogan's viral PTSD clip. Also reveals that he has things brewing that will change the streaming landscape forever.
Obviously, from a military family, I try to respect the people who have sacrificed their comfortability and their safety to make sure that people of this country are safe. So obviously, me and Twitch Chat want to thank you for your service. But it's got to be pretty hard going from a place where you can't feel safe to trying to retransition into just being a civilian. And he's like, okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So this is what this woman had to say about this. And This is why I called her fat.
Oh, here we
I
go.
have no pity at
Here we go. A classic clip.
all for any fucking soldiers. I will never have any fucking pity for any fucking soldiers. U.S. military? Who fucking who? I hope you get PTSD.
That's when she goes to stuff her.
I noticed she was eating the whole time.
Yeah, she does that a lot.
No, I think that a lot of times most soldiers are really good people.
Yeah.
They're trying to serve their country. I don't see how you can say that they deserve PTSD.
Where do you think she lives?
In the U.S., I'm sure.
Yep. California.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad people out there, John.
Yep. Well, that is essentially, that is my content these days.
Just responding to people like this?
Yeah, just trying to take down the bad people on this platform and highlighting
Bad
the
people.
hypocrisy. And I currently, that I can't say publicly, but I have something brewing behind the scenes that I'm going to be releasing to the public. I have another thing releasing in probably around 6 months that I think is going to change the stream.
Shane and Dearborn. Yeah, what's up, Melkaz? How you doing? Got my jersey on tonight. Go Cats, go. What's up, bud?
Streaming landscape forever. That was another big piece of the puzzle that I'm going to be using to absolutely fucking obliterate these people. Like, genuinely fucking obliterate.
Okay, so it seems like another lawsuit is actually coming with Ethan threatening like Noah Samson, Bad Empanada, and now we got Tectone threatening, I don't even know who this is, maybe Twitch itself. He says it's gonna change the streaming landscape.
Yep, you too, man. I did it one time with a makeshift hanger as a joke, but you'd not catch me dead wearing it in public. Yeah. Awesome. Dude, this whole lawsuit thing has become just a massive circle jerk. I don't even know who's suing who anymore. Is it just Ethan Klein suing everybody, or is anybody countersuing? Yeah, what's up, Mally? How you doing? Is anybody countersuing, or is this all just Ethan versus the world?
Not sure exactly what he's talking about, if it's going to be individual people or Twitch itself. Maybe Dan Clancy, the Gooning Lord. Who knows? I will be there, whatever, to cover it as the premium slop tuber, obviously. Now, I just got to talk about Frogan, all right? Frogan, all right? The absolute epitome of privileged people, all right? Stuffing her face while wishing PTSD on people who are protecting her, risking their lives every day to protect her safety. Now, let me put this into terms that Frogan will understand. They are not protecting you, so to speak. They are protecting.
I'm doing okay. I'm working right now, so there's a couple things I need to get ahead of for tomorrow morning for my job. So I'm just, listening to some slop in the background, hanging out in the chat.
The McDonald's workers, the people who cook your Big Mac, the people who give you your chicken nuggets. Now you understand the gravity of the situation, don't ya? Honestly, I'm so sick and tired of these people thinking the world revolves around them. Okay, all right, I guess it does work with Frogan. She is exempted from that. Considering naturally the largest mass will create a distortion in the space-time continuum, the fabric of space, which will lead to an artificial gravitational pull. Gravity is not real, guys, actually. Towards the center of mass, that being Frogan. I truly do pray for the farmers of California having to feed Frogan on a regular basis. I pray for the local McDonald's workers having to deal with her 17 billion orders per day. You gotta be working like 24/7. She gotta be like Squidward from that one episode where he gets obsessed with Krabby Patties and it just like goes to his legs and blows him up. F in the chat, fellas. F in the chat for all the poor employees who have to feed Frogan. Now moving on to Caseytron. Apparently she's called out XQC. Not exactly sure what's going on here. Seems like a bit of a troll. Basically, recap from the last video. Hassan was calling out XQC for not stopping people from saying the N-word. I don't know exactly who they're referring to. I think it was Destiny. But regardless, obviously XQC can't control other people. But he did say that he doesn't support it and he tells people not to say it.
Oh yeah,
so
do it,
after
man.
that, XQC calls out Hassan for being a hypocrite and says that he says the C.
Can you help me with something? Oh god, that sounds so incredibly vague and weird. What is it? What is it, Molly? Choose between oil sheep and container ship. Oil sheep and container ship? I don't know. Dude. I can't help you with that. Why? That is so incredibly vague and weird. I feel like I'm going down some kind of weird weird. Kick Chat always does this. Kick Chat always does this. Some weird shit I get asked in fucking Kick Chat every fucking time. You choose for me, Mally. You choose for me, and then tell me what happens with the results.
Word all the time, and that one's for white people. So now Casey Tron has randomly jumped in and is supporting XUC for some reason. I have no idea what's going on. I think she might be trolling, but again, her entire life is a troll. So I don't know.
Like, I'm actually, Hassan, I actually am one of your friends who actually gives a fuck about you enough to let you know that what the fuck you're doing is shameful, it's harmful, it's unbecoming, it makes you look racist to white people. I am formally calling Hassan out. As a white woman, I am formally calling Hassan out for his usage. I am holding him accountable. So I just want to know what XQC now thinks of Destiny's usage of the N-word, and if he will now hold Destiny accountable. Because his whole reason for not holding or his whole reason, right? He was like, well, nobody holds Hassan accountable.
Exactly. That's what I figured. I figured that, Mally Pirate. There you go. Watch out for those Russian billionaires, though. Don't like Russian billionaires go out to like the Strait of Hormuz or whatever the fuck all this shit is happening, and like, don't they pay people to go out there and hunt the pirates? Pretty sure I've seen articles about Russian billionaires going out there with like M2 50 cals and just fucking laying waste to pirate ships.
Accountable for the C word, and I hold Hassan accountable as a white woman.
Right, so I don't really know what the heck was the point of that. Nobody was really asking for your opinion, Casey. I don't think anybody mentioned you at all. But way to go to insert yourself in the situation, I guess. But anyways, Casey, do we got any updates on your husband and his Grindr notification, or you're not gonna look into that? But anyways, I feel like this is some really stupid drama. I would rather Hassan drop...
That's lies that don't come here? Gotcha. What was this Grindr thing?
In his Grindr. Anyways, Casey, do we got any updates on your husband and his Grindr notification, or you're not gonna look into that? But anyways,
what was that? Did her husband get a Grindr notification?
I feel like this is some really stupid drama. I would rather Hassan drop 50 slurs than actually support terrorists, because it's just a completely different playing field. Okay, so apparently Casey also called out Ludwig for supporting Ethan. Apparently I missed this.
Hassan's audience isn't watching fucking boxing events.
Pretty sure both Anissa and Ian have said that it's not like sales were doing that great before the video had came out either. Like, I don't really think that Content Cop hurt the event. I think that like bad faith incels running around doing smear campaigns is what ruined the event. I just know how these influencer types work. And I think that he just wanted to get on to the next controversy. Them talking about something else that he did besides like his friend getting drunk and going and bothering women at his party. Yeah, and then like this is also just very embarrassing for Ludwig, I think. You've already defended me more than Ian and Anissa. See, and that's like exactly, you know, like that's exactly what all the incels are going to be saying about him now. They're going to be like, yeah, Ludwig is annoying, but at least he tells it like it is and isn't a fucking moron like Hassan.
Oh my god, how many incels was that? Is that a new record, guys? Did we actually break the world record for the most amount of uses? That's actually probably low numbers for her. Casey, as usual, with the scientifically worst take possible. She's like the opposite of Ludwig. Ludwig tries to mathematically appease the most people. Casey mathematically pisses off the most amount of people. Dude, imagine being a Casey Tron viewer.
Like everyone could say, soft A, not worried about it. Yeah, it should be. Soft, if you got soft A on Kraka, soft A on N bombs, soft A on F bombs, soft A on K bombs. If you just I think if we just soft A'd all the slurs, we'd be good to go. I think it would solve a lot of problems. Yeah, I think Mally Pirate, you're onto something there.
Imagine like coming home from your 9 to 5 and watch.
It's not on an F slur. I don't know. We have to figure out a way. If we really want this to work, we got to figure out a way. You know.
this stuff I can't say on YouTube, all right? Watching this person just sit there like grotesquely streaming. Like, how are you doing this? You are completely broke. You can't even afford a lawyer. Get a job at this point. Holy shit, I can't believe you're still streaming. Dude, this is actually pathetic. You've not only ruined your own life, but you've roped your Discord mod ass boyfriend into this as well, who is on Grindr apparently. I still don't know what the hell that was, by the way. What was that pop-up? You've apparently proposed to him. I don't know if that was a troll. Her entire life is a troll at this point. You can't really tell. I'm gonna assume that's true, and you've actually married this guy, and you've tied him in. You've tied him into your financial situation, so Ethan's gonna extract all the money from both of you. It's like, goddamn, you just destroy everything you touch. This is sad. Anyways, moving on to the most pressing question of our time. Somebody asked Asman a very diabolical question.
If I had to live with Denims, Frogan, Casey, or Mike for a year, who would you choose? I think probably Frogan. Yeah, like she probably just keeps to herself, sits in her room, doesn't really do anything, minimal problems. Yeah, probably Frogan. No, really, like that would be like.
No way.
I'm thinking about this logically.
No way.
I had to live with Denims, Frogan, Casey, or Mike for a year, who would you choose? I think probably Frogan. Yeah, like she probably just keeps to herself, sits in her room, doesn't really do anything, minimal problems. Yeah, probably
from the States. Yeah, I'm from the States.
Frogan. No, really, like that would be I'm thinking about this logically. I'm being logical. Denim's 100%. No, people just say that because they like her, right? They think she's pretty. But like that's not really like it's not really how I think, okay?
All right, as the forefront expert in Hassanetics and Hassan's orbiting moons, let me tell you the correct answer. First off, Denims would be annoying as hell. Listening to her voice all day would make any man jump off a bridge. She'd probably falsely accuse you of SA and try to ruin your life if she didn't like you. So that's a definite no. Caseytron would smoke so fucking much the house would be stinking like shit. She'd also bring her Discord mod ass boyfriend and then they just call you incels all day while actually living like a troll.
Her Discord mod ass boyfriend. That is amazing. That is an amazing description of somebody. You ever met with a Somali over there? Have you ever met with Somalis? Probably. I lived in New York City for 7 years, so I met people from all over. So probably.
Imagine your roommates with Caseytron and then, you know, you have to share like a bathroom and then she forgets to lock the door. Holy shit. Oh my god. Imagine you glance at that. No amount of bleach is saving you from that one. Now, Frogan would literally cause a famine. She would devour every bit of sustenance, every bit of food in the nearby galaxy. Unless you got 2 million farmers growing crops for you, maybe 5 billion. Living with Frogan would be scientifically impossible. You would go hungry. Your entire family would go hungry, she would run out of food, and then she would eat you as well. Now, Mike from PA, he's all talk, right? He's like this absolute terminally online Reddit mod. So he would be very easy to live with. This guy can't even outbox a couch. If he tried to do anything or pipe up, you just beat his ass. You could even straight up kick him out of the house. What is he gonna do? Cry in his Discord? So yeah, the correct answer is Mike from PA. Okay, moving on to some Destiny updates.
I heard God
Hit
killed
Jabba the
those
Hutt, yeah.
kids because they were using
That's awesome.
NordVPN promo code Destiny to get around the Texas ban. On reflection, do you think that was grotesquely tasteless thing to be posting?
Absolutely not.
My 12-year-old daughter's crush is in my driveway power washing our camper. I just pulled out to the house and she came outside to welcome me. So did he smash?
Wait, my 12-year-old daughter's crush is in my driveway, power washing her camper. I just pulled up to the house and she came outside to welcome me. Destiny. So did he smash? That is fucking ridiculous.
Smash.
He's been going nuts on. I don't hang out on Twitter a lot, but I usually like check, you know, some of the big names in terms of streamers once in a while. He's been going nuts on fucking Twitter, dude. It's my dream to live in the States, but unfortunately I can't afford to come there. But one day, maybe after Trump leaves the office. There you go. There you go. Maybe one day. One day, Molly.
Destiny's going viral for being edgy again. This guy's just a degenerate. Okay, can we just accept it at this point? This guy's just a weirdo. It's not even edgy. This is just weird. It just shows you're like creepy as hell, bro. I don't know.
He's created this false dichotomy between right-wing people that don't like when he says inappropriate comments towards children and, like, you know, for example, like the victims of the flooding, etc., or something like this, and being woke. And he tries to draw false equivalency between the two things. There's just not. There's no equivalency. They're completely different things. There's no benefit to doing this at all. It's just stupid. I think it's counterproductive and it works against his goals, and I don't know why he doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, you're never gonna convince people to your arguments or your side while acting like a complete unhinged lunatic. I mean, saying that people deserve to be shot dead, apparently you said that before, making fun of kids dying, doubling, tripling down even on like news media like Piers Morgan and stuff, being an absolute creep on Twitter. I mean, I get it's a joke and all, but Jesus Christ, like that's just pathetic. Like, why are you talking about 12-year-olds banging or whatever? I don't know. I'm sure his life is pretty stressful with whatever lawsuit situations are going on there or whatever, but yeah, you gotta log off a little bit. You're becoming a little too Hassan pilled at this point. Destiny responds to Asmongold saying that his edgy tactics are counterproductive to achieving political goals. I thought comedy was legal again. You're so edgy and cool, man. Destiny's tactics are to get people to talk about him at any cost, whether it's saying a fireman deserved to die for being in a Trump rally or his NordVPN status. His goal is attention is clearly working. Here's a the people who think his comedy is good. Yeah, I mean, I guess it keeps you relevant, but I never understand the sort of rage baiting, making yourself go viral, because then people just don't like you, right? Don't you want people to like you? But anyways, let's move on to some Taylor Lorenz updates. The #1 Hassan simp, of course. She has a message for Ethan Klein fans. Basically, if you remember, she was caught talking to kids on Roblox for basically a fake story, and then reaching out to teenagers without the consent of their parents. Very creepy, weird shit.
Ethan Klein fans are literally just like speed running every single fake cancellation that I've ever gotten from Fox News or like any of these other right-wing ghouls. The latest thing is that they have discovered these out of context.
I cannot stand Taylor Lorenz. I especially cannot stand her fucking vocal fry. Oh my god, her vocal fry is next level, man. Next level vocal fry. I cannot stand it. You are just a cool uncle. Just followed you. I will join your streams. Hope you have a good day. Yeah, thank you, Molly. Appreciate it. You have a good one too.
Quotes that were taken from an interview that I did with Digiday back in like 5 years ago about the Hype House. And they're using it to claim that like I go into people's houses and like talk to their children or some weird shit. Now here's the screenshot of some of what I said to Digiday. I just want to make this clear. When I say my job is getting teenagers to talk to me on the phone and getting them to let me into their house and follow me around, I'm talking about content houses. I'm talking about the Hype House, the Sway House.
You know, the thing is,
right? Yeah,
she
exactly.
herself said that it's easier because she's a woman and it would be creepy for like a 30-year-old man to go and try to talk to teenage girls. So you kind of self-reported there. So you can't even blame anybody for calling you out. And I don't really care if they're still influencers. If they're young, it's still weird as hell for you to try and get a story by going past all the adults in the situation straight to the teenagers. That's weird.
And then this other part when I'm saying like, especially when their parents don't understand what they're doing, that's because a lot of these kids, again, are living out in LA or in New York without their parents. Yes, my job involves talking to young people. One thing I do think is worth talking about, though, is how deeply reactionary and right-wing this sort of innuendo and discourse is. This is the type of stuff that you hear from really extreme right-wing groups and figures, this idea of young people having no autonomy.
Oh my god, how are you arguing this? This is so weird. Now it's right-wing to think you're being a creepy hack. Ethan literally just said it's shady to try to paint him as some misogynistic incel PDF file weirdo when you're out here doing this type of shit, trying to find loopholes to talk to teenagers to get some stories or whatever. Throwing stones from glass houses here.
Also this idea that like adults, should never have interaction with children or whatever, it's really weird and it's not based in reality.
Okay, imagine if a man was like, yeah, we should just have adults talking to kids all the time. I think the stigma is just really weird, guys. Let me talk to the little girl in Roblox in peace, guys. You're digging yourself such a crazy grave here. Ethan continuing on his misogynistic meltdown. Why is the child texting you 3 a.m. and she's like, well, there's different different time zones. I think the main point was not the time here, but the fact that you're texting this Roblox kid. The stalking obsession that Ethan Klein has with me with other women is sick. I spoke about this in the video above. Ideas that Ethan libs on the far right espouse that young people don't deserve respect and autonomy, solely the property of their parents. Marginalized kids, especially LGBTQ youth, can be in danger of their parents. I'd never out a trans teen who spoke to me about why the internet was a lifeline for them to their parents. That's what Ethan's advocating for. When did he even talk about trans kids? What the heck? You're literally changing the issue completely, taken away from the fact that you're being called out for doing some weird shit. The beef continues. Ethan calls out Taylor Lorenz for being a vindictive hypocrite and drops some Roblox memes. The fact that a bigot like this person can openly call for a disabled journalist to be killed, I don't know what the hell she's talking about. Oh, look at Taylor Lorenz being a vindictive hypocrite who does everything she accuses others of. Taylor, your old ass, pushing 50, needs to close Roblox and go play bingo with the other retirees because you're more washed than iDubbbz' dirty whites. Ay. Infamous Roblox narc Taylor Lorenz will be in the audience taking notes. Beware. POV people are getting denied Medicaid and health insurance even in Roblox after the new bill. Quick, someone tell Taylor Lorenz she's gotta solve the Roblox crisis, guys. Alright, basically this Hassan Glazer account is like, who the F is Ethan now paying attention during Roblox media? He doesn't need to know any of this to make fun of Taylor Lorenz unless you're writing a story like Taylor. That's incredibly strange. Are the rumors coming true? Is Ethan actually a PDF file? Like I said, me making a silly joke about Taylor Lorenz reporting on ice raids in Roblox. Taylor, journalist. Ethan is a fan. This is absolutely amazing. This is one of the best, like, side character beefs ever. Why is that 50? Like Taylor hanging out with 8-year-olds on Roblox. Is it normal for an old hack to be chatting up little kids, you know? Now click this video or you gotta share your pizza with Frogan, alright? You ain't getting a slice. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Where a woman abused a megastar, Johnny Depp, someone who it was long known many others in this world who work so hard for so little, Ethan, for a few hours work each week, has become a multi-millionaire, not having to deal with financial stress. He lives in a multi-million-dollar mansion in LA, one of the most desirable places in the entire world, and he has a wife and 3 kids who love him. And yet, in spite of all of this, he spent his 40th birthday miserable. And you may be wondering how I know this. Well, Ethan Klein was on holiday, a holiday which might well cost more than most people make in the average year, but Ethan didn't spend it celebrating with his wife. No, Ethan spent his time tormenting smaller content creators, threatening a lawsuit against Shonda Black. For Ethan, threatening a lawsuit against someone who may not have the financial means to defend themselves was nothing more than a little trolling. He didn't care about the financial or psychological stress that this could have caused a smaller content creator. It's all a big joke to him, and he only retracted after he attempted to use the lawsuit to bully the 2 journalists, Taylor Lorenz and Kat Tenenbaum, into apologizing to him for daring to call him out on his misogyny. And this isn't even the first time that Ethan has spent a holiday obsessing over one of his new hatreds. He spent Christmas obsessing over Hassan Piker. He admitted on his return to podcasting from his Christmas break that he had to see a specialist because he had neck ache from being hunched over his computer, making his dreadful content nuke.
I was sitting in my desk chair for so long, my neck has been killing me. I got a masseuse recommendation. They're going to come massage my neck as I edit tomorrow during my free time.
Wait, really?
That's right.
Which is particularly comical when you realise the fact that it was basically just a collection of clips from snark Reddits of Hassan, and also failed in its key aim of deplatforming Hassan. He's had many articles written about him since, and his viewership has not declined. Ethan's bizarre psychosexual obsession with Hassan Piker really does show you the misery and the delusion of capitalism, because we all believe that we work for some kind of picturesque future where we have millions of dollars, live in a huge house, where we can go on holiday to wherever we want and do whatever we want. And yet, it just doesn't make you happy, because Ethan is clearly not that. You would not be spending times in which you are meant to be with your family obsessing over internet drama if you truly were. Ethan's recent humiliations over and over again on the internet have no doubt contributed to this. Content creators like Bad Empanadas, Sam Cedar, Noah Sampson, Overzealots, and myself have humiliated Ethan when it comes to exposing the fact that he is a Zionist. He has been unable to defend his incoherent beliefs that he wants freedom for Palestine on the one hand, but also likes Israel and refuses to fully condemn his wife's participation in an illegal occupation force. And so, as Hassan put it, Ethan Klein has chosen a place where he might win. He is using the massive amounts of money he has to win in the court of public opinion. By suing Caseytron, Denims, and Frogan, he is seeking to target female content creators who are already and have long been subjected to misogynist and racist hate on social media, so he can sate the bloodlust of his newfound right-wing audience and orbiters. Don't believe me? Just listen to the words of Asmongold.
Right wing. Right wing. This term means nothing anymore, dude.
Already and have long been subjected to misogynist and racist hate on social media, so he can sate the bloodlust of his newfound right-wing audience and orbiters. Don't...
He is not what... Oh, man. I mean, maybe, I suppose there's some right-wingers in there because, you know, if you have to choose the side that's against Hassan, then, you know, the enemy of my enemy is my friend or whatever. But this, you know, the right-wing bloodlust of his audience, it just doesn't sound, I don't, like, what is Ethan's audience? People that actually watch H3. Who are those people? I would imagine they're just like edgy sock dems. That's it. It's like a bunch of edgy sock dems in fucking Ethan's chat. Not like right-wingers.
Believe me? Just listen to the words of Asmongold.
This is the best content influence since Step for Third. It will be if it goes to trial. Okay, if it goes to trial, that's it.
Asmongold's comparison to that Amber Heard trial is particularly poignant because Asmongold made hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars off this trial. He sat there and reacted to Amber Heard's testimony when she laid the abuse she suffered at the hands of Johnny Depp bare. And this is what makes it clear. Ethan's lawsuit is about punishing women. This is where the entertainment value for right-wing audiences comes from. Because Amber Heard was viewed as a sexually promiscuous, vile woman who was gaining huge enjoyment at the expense of men like Johnny Depp. She was destroying Johnny Depp's career for no reason other than money. All of the evidence and everything else that went with it didn't matter. Everyone dogpiled on Amber Heard because she was representative of the transgressive woman enjoying at men's expense. We hear about this all the time, how women make false allegations against men just to tear them down for no other reason than money so they can have an easy ride in life or just for some kind of sadistic enjoyment. People didn't bother to look into the actual case that happened with Amber Heard. There are text messages from one of Johnny Depp's assistants which confirm that in 2014 there was a blow-up on a private jet where Johnny Depp kicked and slapped Amber Heard. There were also messages from Johnny Depp where he said that he acted like an aggro Injun in a blackout. The idea that Johnny Depp did nothing to Amber Heard and she lied about everything is fundamentally ridiculous. A UK court literally found that it was not libel for the Sun to call Johnny Depp a wife beater and noted at least 10 incidents of abuse carried out by Johnny Depp. This was a man in his 40s dating a woman in her 20s. Amber Heard was at the beginning of her career. Johnny Depp was already a megastar. Does this not sound like some kind of power imbalance? Does this not sound like a situation where there might be some kind of abuse and a woman might stand up and fight back against Johnny Depp? She was no doubt not the perfect victim of abuse. I have no doubt that she did bad things to Johnny Depp. But if you look at the situation, it doesn't exactly come across as a moment where a woman abused a megastar Johnny Depp, someone who it was long known had substance abuse problems, and also the director of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas noted could switch at any moment. When you read what Amber Heard says, it all makes a lot of sense, but so many, like Asmongold, didn't care when there was money to make, when you could be horrible to this poor woman who was telling her story of abuse, and she is the one who has not worked since. As Moira Donegan put it in her article, the trial was a public orgy of misogyny. As I say, there are so many articles which you can read through with hard evidence that Johnny Depp engaged in physical abuse of Amber Heard. And it may seem strange to bring this up, but I believe that what is happening here is an incredibly similar thing. Many people described the trial as some kind of Me Too backlash, effectively describing how men were sick of the behavior of women, and it's true. Amber Heard stood there as someone who spoke up against abuse, and she was treated absolutely heinously by so many because of it. And this is why I make this comparison, because this trial is not really about fair use. Ethan knows that full well. Ethan has said that he won't be suing someone like XQC, because even though XQC has one of the shortest video reactions to the content nuke, he didn't have many negative thoughts about it. He is someone who doesn't regularly condemn and call out Ethan's behavior. However, this isn't the sole basis of Ethan's legal case. What Ethan has also highlighted is that each of Casey Tron Denims and Frogan all said that they were operating as an alternative, so people didn't actually have to go and watch Ethan Klein's content. And whilst this is undeniably true, wouldn't it be fair to say that anyone who reacts to your content operates as this kind of alternative? Now, I am very grateful that Hassan watched my video. I'm grateful that he had me on his stream, and I don't want to discourage people like him who transform my videos from reacting to my content. But what I will say is that this operates as an alternative. There are some people who will only watch my video all the way through because Hassan is watching it. They will never go out and check my channel. Maybe they'll watch a few seconds and drop a like, but in my understanding, that won't help the algorithm. And so undeniably they said this thing, but isn't it fair to say that anyone who doesn't like you and watches your content siphons away views from you, and even perhaps people who do? Ethan himself previously said that his IP was open, although he said that this was only about clips, but he did actually say after the content nuke that he was grateful to people like Frogan and Denims for reacting to his content because they were the ones hyping up the content nuke, whilst no one else was talking about it or watching it. He said that they held massive watch parties, which even if they brought over dislikes, brought over engagement to his video.
It was all these dipshits who are hyping the shit out of it. You should have seen their Twitch titles, like, Ethan Klein nuke has dropped, all capitals. Let's fucking watch. Like, bro, I couldn't have asked for better promotion. You know what I mean? So thank you to them, and thank you for coming and disliking.
Now, I am in no position to comment on the legal merits of Ethan Klein's lawsuit, but I am in the position to comment on how funny certain parts of it actually are, because there is a specific part where he compares Hassan Piker to the Grand Mufti of Palestine, Haj Amin al-Husseini. Now, Ethan, the pro-Palestine man, is engaging in classic Zionist propaganda here, because Zionists have long sought to inflate the position of the Mufti to the pinnacle of evil. In 2015, Netanyahu literally stated that the Mufti had given Hitler the idea to exterminate the Jewish people. The Israeli historian Tom Segev noted that at Yad Vashem, the Israeli Holocaust Museum, an entire wall is dedicated to the Mufti, and according to Segev, the visitor is left to conclude that there is much in common between the Nazis' plan to destroy the Jews and the Arabs' enmity towards Israel. This is a particularly poignant point, because what Ethan is trying to do here is conflate Hassan with the Mufti, because this is someone who many Zionists understand as being a figure associated with Nazism. He undeniably worked with them, but it is not why Palestinians, or generally the anti-Zionist movement, oppose the state of Israel. And I must remind you that 1, the Mufti was appointed by the British. 2, as Ghassan Kanafani notes in his work, he spent his time liquidating liquidating leftists, as in killing people who were not right-wingers, even amongst the Palestinians, and also was expressly thanked by the British High Commissioner for his role in keeping Friday sermons quiet during the Great Revolt of Palestine in 1936 to 39. So it's a particularly interesting choice for Ethan to do this here, but it's unsurprising. Most people don't know that this guy was intentionally propped up by the British because he was representative of an elite class in Palestine that could be used to control more revolutionary elements. And I just think that this is particularly funny to be included in Ethan Klein's very serious lawsuit, and also, as I say, because Ethan purports to be pro-Palestine, but here he is engaging in Zionist propaganda by talking about the Mufti, a figure appointed by the British. And what actually is the similarity between Hassan and the Mufti? Some, like Bad Empanada, might say that Hassan tempers more revolutionary elements within the pro-Palestine cause, but unlike the Mufti, he's not coming from a position of being a member of Palestine's elite class, and that's not why he's a leader of the Palestinian cause. He's not motivated by right-wing nationalism. He is a leftist who wants to build a better world. Ethan is literally evoking this because he wants to compare Hassan to someone that associated with the Nazis. He tries to say that Hassan, like the Mufti, called for the elimination of Jewish people by talking about Zionists. But Zionists are not all Jewish people. I know Ethan will say, well, most Jewish people are Zionists. And Ethan's understanding of Zionism is, oh, it's just about a nice homeland. But that's not what Zionism is for its victims. Palestinians have suffered at the hands of the Zionist project. They have been dispossessed, marginalized, and they have never been offered a fair peace deal. They literally accepted in 1993 22% of their historic homeland, ceding 78% to their colonizers. And even this wasn't good enough for Israel. The Palestinian Authority in the West Bank are literally their dogs who do whatever Israel wants, and this wasn't good enough because Zionism is a territorial maximalist, ethno-supremacist movement that cannot exist with Palestinians in the land. But ultimately, I am not a lawyer. I don't know anything about this, and I'm not going to pretend that I do. And neither really does Ethan. However, he has found himself some rather interesting supporters from the world of LawTube, and one of these in particular, who Ethan and his community have been gleefully posting over the last few days, is Legal Mindset. Now, Legal Mindset is a rather interesting character. He spends his time latching onto online trends, but why Ethan would want to associate with this man is genuinely beyond me. This man has a video called The Myth of St. Floyd Debunked. Hardly someone that the left-leaning social democrat Ethan Klein would normally want to associate with, but of course Ethan's values, his morals, his principles all go out the window the second someone is willing to say something positive about him. And this isn't where it ends with this guy. He has some rather bizarre videos talking about Red Pill and many other things, but perhaps the worst thing I have found is that this guy has a video where he highlights Johnny Somali getting upset because he mistook people saying the Korean word for you, which sounds a bit like the N-word, for insulting him, and then tells his chat to say it with a pause in between and smiles as they start to get it, and then plays this bizarre anime clip of a woman saying effing monkey whilst talking about Johnny Somali.
It's just the Korean language, right? The Korean language is not a slur. And you just have to separate them, right? Say it very slowly. Ni, and then take a little pause, take a little deep breath. Ga, right? And just separate it a little bit, right? Separate a little bit. Yeah, get it. Ah, there we go. Yeah, my people getting it over here. But he's too literally.
Fighting monkey.
And I'm not gonna lie, that seems incredibly racist. He says it's just about Johnny Somali's IQ, but that doesn't really seem like a normal thing to be calling a black person, now does it? He posted a video about how Hassan Piker had defamed him for calling him not a real lawyer and tried to insinuate that he was not a passport bro. Ethan went on to post this on his story, but this was rather bizarre because this guy literally does encourage passport bros. He has a second channel channel where he uploads videos with thumbnails of scantily clad women and tells them how they should get passports, go over to Asia to meet conservative and traditional women, and then not bring them back to America so they don't get corrupted by Western society. This guy's whole shtick is claiming that he just gives legal facts, that he isn't biased. But are these things that I've shown, along with his consistent endorsement of Trump and his hatred of woke Disney and many other things like this, not an indication that his political views and his content are colored by his right-wing bias and his knowledge that this will bring an audience of right-wingers? I mean, it's very clear that he's doing very well off this. By saying that Ethan is destroying these people, he is gaining lots of views and lots of attention. This guy is a very bizarre person to be associating with, and as I say, someone who it is kind of surprising that Ethan Klein, someone who thinks he is some kind of leftist, would be promoting over and over again. All of these people like Legal Mindset, Asmongold, and so many others who I'm about to talk about are feeding off this drama. They are feeding their audience hatred towards these people who mostly are right-wing misogynists anyway, and what they want to see, rather than someone being punished for copyright infringement, is 3 women who they view as transgressive, who do not meet the standards of what they would like, who do not hold the beliefs that they believe in and are of the wrong religion or ethnicity, being punished, just as I said in the case of Amber Heard. And the storm of hatred towards these 3 content creators is already well underway. There is a Twitter account which has a name associated with Ethan Klein, which I will not mention, who has already started posting Denim's OnlyFans content, and Denims herself has noted a huge uptick in the misogyny that she has received. But none of this is really surprising. Frogan posted a video of her message requests back in October of 2024, and they are an absolute spam of Islamophobic, misogynist, and fatphobic slurs against her over and over again.
Oh, not fat phobia.
No doubt some of which come from the supporters of Ethan Klein. And Caseytron, the other target of Ethan's lawsuit, has already posted multiple videos talking about the negative ways that this has affected her. Ethan, the multi-millionaire, is causing her considerable financial stress. She has noted that this has affected her disabled father. And some will say, well, you shouldn't make comments, you shouldn't do this, and you shouldn't do that. But as I will show in this video, Ethan and his newfound orbiters constantly make despicable comments, constantly do despicable things, and do not receive the same kind of hatred and bigotry that people like Denims, Frogan, and Caseytron do. Ethan has undeniably supported the genocide in the Gaza Strip, and because he was exposed for this, he is now taking revenge by punishing these 3 women. He has been trying to sue people for months on end with frivolous lawsuits that have gone nowhere, and finally his lawyers have found some way that they might be able to score some kind of victory, and Ethan has chosen 3 people who are already hated by large portions of right-wing online influencers, and Ethan's newfound audience are absolutely loving it. And for Ethan himself, it is frivolous and a fun way to spend the money that he has, which he simply does not need. He literally described suing Shaun DeBlack as a little trolling. This hardly comes across as the action of someone who has some kind of ideological conviction or desire to actually win this case for fair use, or whatever the hell he claims is the reasoning behind this. This is a dog pile. It is an attempt to win in the court of public opinion. As I said, Ethan's embarrassment on the intellectual level because of his ridiculous worldview and stupid politics has ended up with a situation where he feels humiliated, and so he wants to take revenge on these people and receive the kind of attention and support that he is used to on the internet. And the way he has found to do that is by going after already despised female content creators who are targets of harassment by right-wing figures online. Each of these content creators may have said and done things that they are condemned for. They may have done inappropriate things which have got them banned from the platform, things that have directly upset or insulted Ethan. But as I am going to show you, none of them are as bad as the people who now make up Ethan Klein's newfound community, or even really Ethan himself. Because none of them have ever called for the genocide of other cultures that they deem inferior, like Asmongold did.
Consider a genocide as a systematic killing of a group of people. They have genocide built into Sharia law right now. So no, I'm not going to cry a fucking river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. I don't give a fuck. They're terrible people. It's not even a question. It's crazy that people don't see it that way. These people are not your allies. They are not the same as us. They come from an inferior culture that is horrible. It kills people for their identity, and it is directly antithetical to everything Western values stand for, and it is an inferior culture in all ways. It is that simple. No, I don't feel bad for them. I don't feel sorry for them. I don't care. I don't support them.
When I was adding this to the video during the editing, I actually listened to the full statement. I had the gist of it memorized, but it is honestly insane that Ethan Klein hallucinated an anti-Semitism problem on Twitch by deceptively editing clips of Hassan and also crying over what he called a racial tier list by Frogan, but has not really discussed this. Asmongold got a shorter ban than Frogan did for the so-called racial tier list, when Asmongold here is literally saying that Palestinian culture is inferior, that they are different from us, they are not our allies. This is genuinely an unbelievable comment to only receive a 2-week ban for. He is literally justifying exterminating human beings. I think that if someone had said this about Jewish people, they would have been permanently banned from Twitch, because it is a heinous thing to say. You could use this argument to justify what the Germans did to Jewish people by saying, oh, they're of an inferior and different culture. In fact, that is the kind of thing that the Germans were actually saying. They said that their culture was different, that they were polluting Western society, that they were different to us. And yet Asmongold got a 2-week ban. It is unbelievable to actually hear this. And it does feed well into the argument of, hey, people act as if Denims, Frogan and Caseytron get away with everything. They're never punished. But does a 2-week ban for this kind of rhetoric actually seem all that reasonable when you listen to it frankly? This is really extremist Orientalist racism, creating a distinction between them and us. And it is not just the Germans who use this for a justification of the genocide of Jewish people. This is pretty much the rhetoric that was used to justify every single colonial conquest and genocide. They would say that the native has inferior culture, that they are people who are undeserving of the land that they had, and therefore if they died, if they starved, if they got diseases, who cared? Because the decent British or Europeans would go into that land and develop it. And yet this is worthy of a 2-week ban. It is kind of unbelievable when you put it like that. Ethan has over and over again had to make up elaborate ways to describe people like Frogan as virulent anti-Semites, whilst totally ignoring the fact that Asmongold, one of his newfound supporters, literally said that Palestinians were deserving of genocide because of some terrible opinion that he held. Nor have any of them said recently that they wanted to dress up as Ash Ketchum to go and catch illegals with members of the Trump administration.
So like they're doing this thing with like these deportations where they bring in like celebrities to deport people, and it made me wonder, what is the probability that Tom Homan would let me go with him dressed up as Ash Ketchum with watching them do deportations? Like, I feel like it's probably at least 5% chance, right? Yeah, exactly. That'd be really good content. It would be. And yeah, probably not going to happen, though.
What a truly sadistic comment. Ethan always makes a big show of condemning Hassan for not voting for Kamala Harris, even though he himself did, but has no problem with his newfound community online. I mean, this is just ridiculous. This is a guy who spends all of his time as a multi-millionaire living in a cockroach-infested house where he said he used a dead rat as an alarm clock, and he wants to spend spend his time going out into society, targeting people who have most likely made long and arduous journeys to America, not because they were desperate to exploit the American government, but rather because there were no economic opportunities in their country because of the way in which the world was set up, or because Western foreign policy had brought dictatorship or war to that country. But of course, this doesn't matter to Ethan. As far as I can tell, there are 2 recent long-form segments where Ethan has dealt with Asmongold, and they're particularly interesting to watch, because one of them is Asmongold talking about Ethan's Tourette's, where he has some quite bizarre takes and views, but the other one is about Asmongold saying that the Holocaust only 99% happened. Now, Ethan and his crew condemn Asmongold for this a bit, and it's obviously a very problematic thing to say, because whilst he is supportive of the fact that the Holocaust happened, what it does open the door to is a community of people trying to influence him that he didn't. He is giving legitimacy to the belief that the Holocaust may not have happened. And the reason that I bring this up is because when you look at how Ethan dealt with a photo of iDubbbz holding up a bleach sword with some of the other people who were in his content cop, Ethan went absolutely ballistic. He referred to it as a dog whistle, insinuating that these people were trying to give legitimacy to neo-Nazi talking points. But when he's talking about Asmongold, he doesn't even use the term dog whistle. It is rather comical, and if you look at the vitriol that he deals with people who are in Hassan's orbit, like Caseytron, Denims, Frogan, or even Anissa, iDubbbz's wife, it's particularly insane because he's not referring to Asmongold as a piece of shit, a bitch, as he regularly does with these women. He just doesn't have those strong words, and what it kind of shows you is that Ethan's campaign against bigotry, harassment online is not actually really about that. What it really revolves around is whether someone is supportive or not of his campaign against Hassan Piker, or is willing to call him out on his Zionism or other problematic behaviors, and it's kind of just comical. And I also say this because Ethan's campaign against Twitch's alleged anti-Semitism problem isn't even mentioned here. Something that is kind of analogous to this is how
The alleged.
how you see groups like the ADL ignoring Elon Musk doing a Nazi salute and giving explanations of why that's okay, even though we have literally just seen today his AI bot, Grok, referring to itself as Mecha Hitler, and also Trump using the term Shylock in a genuinely anti-Semitic way, largely being ignored. It is kind of this way in which anti-Semitism is, yes, a problem. There are people who say and do anti-Semitic things. However, it is only really used and weaponized in a context of silencing free speech on Palestine and Israel. People condemning the state of Israel for its crimes are deemed anti-Semitic, whereas people who are actually anti-Semitic largely get away with it because often they are incredibly supportive of Israel. Just look at John Podhoretz's take, someone who is openly a Zionist. He says that Trump can say whatever he wants because he bombed Iran. It is clear that anti-Semitism does not matter to these people as long as they meet their foreign policy interests. It is not actually about combating anti-Semitism. It is something that can be weaponized in certain contexts. Nor are any of them as bad as Ethan Klein's new sponsor of his button, Dan Saltman. Dan Saltman is obsessed with Hassan Piker. He is a multi-millionaire who dedicates his miserable life to harassing Hassan, to cultivating a community of people who will target Hassan and try and get him off the internet by pushing edited and out-of-context clips. This guy still hosts a podcast with Destiny. Destiny is a guy with very serious allegations against him, so serious that even his BFF Lonerbox, who was going on propaganda trips to Israel with him, cut off relations with him. There are multiple people who have accused Destiny of revenge porn, and Destiny's co-host now sponsors Ethan's button. Destiny himself said that he didn't care about genocide.
Honestly, I'm pro-genocide. It sounds really shitty, but I think that Israel should just drop its fucking borders about where it is now, and basically Palestinians can go live in another place.
He gave IOF soldiers advice about how they should dress up in Palestinian women's clothing, a kind of sexual humiliation, but only as long as they did it off camera.
I think Israel has unique issues. Here's the one piece of advice I'll give you, okay? If you're joining the IDF, okay? Leave your fucking cell phone at home and stop taking stupid fucking videos, okay? Because everybody's fucking you with them, okay? And if you see... If you see a soldier, okay, going through a fucking drawer, and listen, if you want to fucking wear a dress and you think it's funny, just don't fucking take a fucking video picture of it, okay? Jesus.
Nor have any of them behaved as poorly as Ethan's newfound orbiter, Nicholas D'Orio. This guy formerly hosted a show called Ultimate Rape Review, and there is an episode where he and his friends laugh along about the idea that rapists should be made to debate their victims, and if the victim loses, they should be re-raped.
This okay, yeah. So I think Chud's in this one actually.
He hosted a show called Ultimate Rape Review, and there is an episode where he and his friends laugh along about the idea that rapists should be made to debate their victims, and if the victim loses, they should be re-raped.
There was actually a TED Talk where the rape victim met their rapist and did a talk together about it. You should have that for Ultimate Rape Review, okay? And they've stolen my idea.
Oh, dude,
Put the
Ultimate
victim
Rape
and the
Debate!
rapist, okay?
You are
For
near.
debate, and if the rape victim loses, guess what happens? They get anyway.
Re-victimized!
They have the victim on, and then they like Sam Cedar them with like the rapist, like hi.
This is just a funny guy, you know. Ethan, who has gone on and on about people platforming bad empanada, has spoken about Nicholas D'Orio on his podcast. He has not condemned Asmongold. He lets Dan Saltman sponsor his podcast. This is a guy who has crashed out, blamed everyone for calling CPS, but has no problem talking to Hassan's harassers. He has no problem with the new community that he has cultivated, who have taken glee in his lawsuits punishing these three content creators. But there is one person who is a new H3 orbiter who really does stand out, which is Tectone. Tectone stands out for a multitude of different reasons, but perhaps the worst of them all is because he is using the opportunity of Ethan Klein suing Denims to potentially launch his own lawsuit against Denims for daring to cover the allegations by multiple women against Tectone. Something which was celebrated on the H3 Reddit, which Ethan maintains is not a snark Reddit. And this is particularly egregious because there are videos of Tectone sexually harassing Denims. There is a video where he says he only watches her videos offline with his pants off.
Denims talks about you? Dude, I only watch Denims clips offline. Yeah, with my pants off. Yeah, I can't watch those on stream.
This is not the kind of comment that you make to a woman. This is not the kind of comment that you make to someone who is somewhat your colleague because they stream on the same platform as you. It's just sexual harassment. Denims herself stated this. Surely Ethan Klein, the man who was incensed by being called a misogynist, would speak out against this man who's latched onto him, who uses him to gain hundreds of thousands of views by covering the drama of these lawsuits. No, Ethan has spoken about him, and he made some vague mention that he's not a good guy, but he didn't go into detail against the allegations against him. He didn't need to, because Tectone is someone who supports him. Anyone who supports Ethan is completely fine. Ethan literally brought an ex-partner of Noah Samson onto his podcast. He hyped it up as if Noah Samson was some kind of sex offender, and then it amounted to nothing more than a woman who accused Noah Samson of potentially seeing other people when they weren't even in a relationship. But of course, when it comes to someone like Tectone, Ethan never needed to explore his allegations because Tectone is someone who agrees with him. Ethan's community can celebrate Tectone because he's a good guy who doesn't dare to call out Ethan because of his genocidal views. Ethan literally admitted that Tectone is one of Frogan's biggest harassers.
Yeah, but your point, which is correct, is that he's friends with Frogan. He featured Frogan, and he, I'll say, is probably her biggest harasser. He's the dude most dedicated to fucking with her.
Yeah.
And being really nasty to her. Yeah.
Someone who contributes to the kind of misogynistic, fat-phobic, and Islamophobic hatred that she is spammed with online. Yet
Oh, this guy. I just don't hear fat phobia in like as commonly as I hear Islamophobia, transphobia, racism. I mean, like all the usual suspects. But this guy's been banging on about the fat phobia too.
doesn't have a problem with him latching onto him. And the reason I have dedicated so much time to Tectone is because this is the kind of community that Ethan has cultivated. These are the kind of people who are his orbiters, who join in on his dog piles against Hassan Piker and anyone who is friendly with him. Tectone is a man who claims that he didn't know that his father was a sex offender, even though his father's case received huge amounts of public attention because it was in the military, and he was 15 at the time his father went to prison and apparently never bothered checking why he might have gone to prison. But Tectone's narrative was cast into doubt by his ex-girlfriend, who came out and said that Tectone's dad constantly joked about women being raped in Vietnam. And this is particularly worrying because his dad is a sex offender and he served in Vietnam. So was he telling the truth? We know that this kind of thing was being done by American soldiers, and he was making jokes on podcasts with female content creators about this kind of stuff. She also stated that he constantly spoke about having sexual relations with another female co-host, and also continually downplayed the allegations against him, saying that women in the military had lied about him. So this would seemingly cast serious doubt on Tectone's narrative that he just didn't know that his father was some kind of sexual abuser, which means that Tectone knowingly brought a sexual abuser round young YouTubers. He brought his father, a sex criminal, around other content creators. That's not a normal thing to do, and often YouTubers are mocked for their apologies. But after this all emerged about his father, Tectone produced what is quite possibly the worst YouTube response that you have ever seen. It is up there with Logan Paul, Colleen Ballinger, all of these people. It is comically bad.
And I don't really know what to think. I suppose, due to this all being resurfaced by Hassan, I suppose I will no longer be interacting with my father in any way, shape, or form on my stream or my content. The past 24 hours have been very shocking. It has been very alarming. And I don't really know what to think.
Because if you actually listen to what Tectone is saying here, he is crying not because of allegedly what he's first hearing about his dad, but because he won't be able to bring his father on stream anymore. I mean, that is what he is saying. And he spends his time crying about Hassan Piker for bringing this up. Information that people should know. You shouldn't be crying about other content creators when you find this kind of stuff out about your dad. And then he starts talking about all of the personal issues in his life, which do sound difficult, but it's not really relevant when your father is being accused of sexual abuse. And very quickly, on a dime, Tectone just changes. He goes back to being fine as soon as he can start whining about Hassan Piker. It is a really, really bad apology that I genuinely implore you to watch because it is almost comical. Tectone himself has some rather serious allegations against him, and when you look into this guy, it doesn't seem all that surprising. The way he has spoken about people like Denims is frankly disgusting, and here's a video of him making a joke that women like abusive guys.
No,
see, the guys
think
that
they like crazy girls.
That's right. See,
I think it's the same for girls.
Yes.
no,
in some
girls
ways.
don't like crazy guys.
They
See,
like abusive guys.
Well, here's the difference, right? Is that like guys that have crazy girlfriends?
Now, perhaps some would tell us it's just a joke, he is joking. But when two of your previous ex-girlfriends, one of whom you literally turned against the other, weaponized her to defame the other person, and now they are friends, are accusing you of very similar things, maybe there's something there. I can't say. I can't confirm this. Shamu has made an hour-long deep dive where he talks in depth and details these allegations, goes through police reports, highlights what Tectone has done, how he has responded to these kind of things. And I am not telling you whether Tectone has done these things or not. That's not up to me. But you can go out there and you can read this and you can see what Tectone is being accused of, what he has said to defend himself, and make up your own mind. And perhaps one of the worst things that I have seen from Tectone was actually his reaction to Ethan's lawsuits, because he was getting major enjoyment from them. He absolutely loved them. His response refers to Denims and Caseytron as bitches and whores throughout, and he makes this hilarious joke.
Yeah, a lot of these women are crying because they know what they're gonna have to do. They're fucking mid-ass OnlyFans where they show slight nipple and maybe a little bit of puss, maybe. They're gonna have to start fucking BVCs. Yep, they're gonna have to start taking long, hard, raw, and they're sitting there and be like, I don't know if I'm ready to take all that dick just yet. But you're gonna have to, because when people stop shilling for the fucking nip and puss, well, sorry, bitch, you're getting banged out for life, is what it is.
How is this funny? This is just despicable. There are so many women around the world and throughout history who have literally been forced into sex work and continue to be on the basis of being in dire financial situations. And here Tectone is saying that these women should make pornography so they can pay Ethan Klein. That's the joke. This guy who thinks women are bitches and whores, who has allegations against him, is saying these kind of things. It is truly unbelievable that this is someone who is leeching off Ethan, who Ethan's strongest comments are, oh, he's not a great guy. No, this guy is a downright misogynist who is getting enjoyment from Ethan's lawsuits, and this is what Ethan wants. He wants the support of people like Tectone, Legal Mindset, who make misogynist content. But in spite of all of this evidence and Ethan's willingness to go after anyone who Hassan dares to repost, who he follows, who he associates with, Ethan has mentioned Tectone 2 times on his podcast. He said that maybe he's not a great guy, but that's really it. He hasn't bothered to go in depth about these allegations or to talk about what this guy does. Instead, he spends every day posting about Hassan Piker and Taylor Lorenz. He posts a video that Hassan made 10, 15 years ago about some kind of bro tips where Hassan is actually a young man. Yet when anyone brings up videos Ethan made in his 30s, he says they were years ago, that these were different times, when they are far worse than what Hassan is saying. I mean, as many have noted, Ethan made a video where he sexually harassed a minor who was a victim of the Boston bombing attack whilst Hila Klein recorded him. And yes, people do stupid things and post them, and the argument can and should be made that when we are younger, we do say stupid things. But again, Ethan was in his 30s, pushing out this kind of content to young people. Ethan spends his time spreading the false idea that Taylor Lorenz was texting children at 3 a.m, even though she herself has highlighted multiple times that this was not something that happened. But there is an article about how Ethan Klein was behaving sexually inappropriately in the metaverse and literally got banned for it whilst there were children watching him. There is a video where he describes a child holding a cushion in the shape of a letter A as a phallic object. Ethan, you should probably not throw stones if you live in such a brittle glass house. It is rather ridiculous to accuse others of being child abusers when this is the kind of content that you have posted not that long ago and in your 30s. But as I say, people like Taylor Lorenz and Hassan Piker, who are actual leftists, both of whom want to see a better world, are the real targets that Ethan should be going after, because they have spoken out against him. And Ethan is now left with a horrifying community, a wretched hive of alleged sex offenders and Zionists. These are the figures who celebrate his lawsuits, who celebrate his campaign against Hassan Piker, people that Ethan a couple of years ago would have been arguing against, people who held beliefs that would have disgusted Ethan. Now they are his orbiters. Now they are the people who make money from him suing women. Ethan, the man who is obsessed with snark credits, who constantly claims that he is being harassed and bullied so horribly, now possesses a huge snark Reddit that celebrate these people like Tectone, Legal Mindset, racists, alleged sex offenders, people who have made despicable comments on the internet. But that doesn't matter. Everything that Frogan, Denims, Caseytron, Hassan, Taylor Lorenz say needs to be held under a microscope. But Ethan and his orbiters, well, they can say and do whatever they want, as long as they are all supportive of Ethan's campaign against Hassan Piker, as long as they sate his psychosexual obsession with dunking on Hassan Piker. And something that Gila said in a recent podcast was particularly funny to me. She said that Ethan is more like 2016 Ethan than ever.
But also, like, this version of you is so reminiscent of 2016 Ethan. So they actually don't know what they're talking about.
I'm so me right now.
Yeah. You're more you than ever.
Ever.
And she is right. Ethan has shed the thin veneer, that he has somehow changed, that he is progressive, that he regrets the content that he made years ago, that he's not a misogynist, that he's not some kind of bigot. Ethan, because of his unwillingness to confront his Zionist worldview, has just gone back to his 2016 self, a man unwilling to take any criticism, craving attention by suing people who are hated. Even before the content nuke came out in January of 2025, he defended his old comment alongside Post Malone that women should be conquered.
Okay, good.
Or apes or whatever, right? Our Neanderthal cousins were probably just like crazy. So there's definitely something like in us to like conquer. Men want to like conquer. Right. So it's, you know, women are in a nature setting like to be conquered.
First of all, to be clear, I think it's funny how it went down with Joji. I don't even think there's really a problem with this clip, really. I mean, we just had drunk having a conversation. I said something without thinking that much and didn't really say that much. And I really don't even think it's only viral because Joji's.
Yeah, it is a good
Joji in the back. I mean,
it's not like any. You said way worse. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't want to say it. You said way worse. Come on.
Yeah. And anyway, that was also that was one of the first episodes we ever did.
Yeah.
These are the kind of things that Andrew Tate would say, someone who Ethan a few years ago was having arguments with. And Ethan said, the clip's only viral because of Joji's reaction. No, Ethan, it is viral because it is a weird thing to say. And his argument is, well, it was a drunk conversation with friends. But this is not the kind of conversation that I have with my friends, even when I'm incredibly drunk. It's not some kind of normal thing to say. And I'm a 24-year-old. You are more than 30 years old in that video. And with the point that you have reached, you are unwilling to accept any criticism. And after iDubbbz made his content cop about him, Ethan's comments about Anissa have been disgusting. He made sexual jokes about someone who he was formerly friends with that were totally inappropriate. But perhaps the worst part of all was this clip from the podcast.
Just like, I had such a good joke, but I think it's too fucked up.
Oh boy.
Can I say it and then button it? I'll type it. I don't think you guys aren't gonna like this one.
Start there.
You guys aren't gonna like this one.
We're not? Or we
I don't think so.
Oh.
You're gonna hate this one. You're gonna hate it.
Oh my
How about no?
Nice try.
Nice
try.
Denied.
No.
Yeah, I knew you guys weren't gonna like that one.
Delete it from chat so you don't accidentally leak it later.
Delete it from your thoughts.
Not bad. I'll delete it. Yeesh.
Ethan has to ask his crew, his employees, his lackeys, whether his misogynistic joke is okay, and all of them are disgusted by it, and they literally tell him that he should delete it in case it leaks. He still finds it incredibly funny. Imagine if Hassan had done something like this, had texted his friends, oh, I want to make an anti-Semitic joke, I want you all to hear it, and they all told him no. This would be all Ethan would post on his story for months on end. But as I say, one rule for Ethan, one rule for everyone else.
Yeah, what's up, Grant?
Now, after Ethan's relaxing and wonderful holiday for his 40th birthday, where he was doing normal things that we should all be doing on our 40th birthday, he returned to his podcast in a great mood, with the second episode featuring a brilliant tirade and rant about Anissa, going on and on about how he'd never be done with her.
I win.
You lose. You lose everything. Look at me. This is me. I win.
Kylo Scanlon. The name sounds familiar. Who is that?
You lose. And you will continue to lose. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm not done. I'll never be done. I will never be done with you. That's how much you've betrayed me and how much I want you to know how much you lose and I win. Do you understand, Anissa? And I'm not even talking to iDubbbz anymore. He's insignificant. He's gone. Anissa, you're the one. You're coming center stage. You're going to start streaming now. I want you to understand something.
Yes.
I am never going to be done.
And many people may be at this point of my video saying all I've done is condemn Ethan because of guilt by association. Well, after the podcast aired, Anissa took to Twitter to say to Ethan, you are condemning me for things that my husband has done. But in classic Ethan Klein fashion, he clapped back with an absolutely unbelievable response. And the response gave a list.
There is a list. This list
of all of the things that Anissa had done to wrong Ethan. And these were, you have been involved in every content cop. You were at Hassan's house during the filming of
Financial education influencer and book author. I don't know. The name sounds familiar, but I'm not sure.
Flipping off the camera. Ian literally cites you in the video. Anissa is half Lebanese and half Irish, so she understands Israeli propaganda and oppression. This is a particularly interesting point to cite because perhaps she might have some familial awareness of this. If you meet a lot of Irish people, especially those with deep connections to the country, very often they are more politically aware than most people because British colonisation of Northern Ireland has not really ended and the effects were felt throughout the 20th century undeniably. He goes on, you've been making snide remarks during this entire debacle, i.e. inbred. You scolded Dad for leaving me a nice comment. You argued with Harley about Zionism. So did Ian, where he admits to not even knowing what that means. Now, in the context of this, I feel like it's pretty important to note that the Harley he is talking about is the epic Mealtimes guy, who is literally someone that tried to deny the Israeli military had killed 15 paramedics in a shooting.
It's on Jon Stewart recently. You could react. Also, she was discussing socialist-minded youth with Barry Weiss. I'm not. So here's the thing, Grant. I'm not reacting to anything for a while because I'm not even. I'm only streaming to be on just to in case people want to hang out. But I'm working. Like I said, like our project, our team is moving to a new platform in the next few weeks, and it's like absolute crunch time. So like every time you see me on for the next few weeks. I mean, like maybe over the weekend I might react a little bit, but like if it's a weeknight and I'm just 5 in the morning and I'm just blankly staring at another screen, it's because I'm working. So like maybe I can do some react stuff on the weekend, but like for what I'm doing now, I'm just working and just mindlessly listening to shit. But still, drop those videos. I think the radical farming and this Scanlon person, just drop those videos in the links channel, and then I'll try to carve out some time to not work. I'm gonna be working every day for the next few weeks when I'm on stream. But this weekend, I could probably carve some time to just not work for a little bit and just react to some stuff. So you just drop all that stuff in the channel. Actually, what time is it? It's fucking 5 in the morning. Yeah, I gotta go. So yeah, that's the case. I wish I didn't have to work, but every day when every morning when I go into my first meetings, it's like boom, fucking a million questions. We need to have a million things ready, and I just don't like going into those meetings unprepared. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. If it's a weeknight, I'm gonna be working while I just listen to Slop and hang out. But this weekend we'll see. This weekend maybe I can carve out a little bit of time to do some reacts. Yeah, but I gotta go. It's 5 a.m. Didn't know that. Yeah, this work this work arc that I'm on right now is only going to be for the next few weeks. Once August hits, then we'll be transitioning to the new platform. We'll be doing regression testing, and you know, that'll be a different set of work, but it's not going to be as intense as what I'm doing right now. So thanks for the stream. Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Grant. Thank you, Conrad, Maida, Mally Pirate, Malkaz. Yeah, cool. I'm gonna go to bed. I'll try to be on tomorrow. Peace.